Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 671. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Christopher Davis.
Hello, hello.
And joining us once again is David Lau.
Hey. Yeah.
How is everybody doing?
Good. How are you guys doing? Austin took it up the butt last week, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, Texas in general did, but yes, we didn't have a show last week because some of us were still without power. Actually, at that point, I think at that
everybody
point...
had power at that point. I think just people were
I can't remember the order of events. That whole week is
We had
a blur to
just
me
gotten back power on Thursday.
We were only without power for 24 hours, but Nolan didn't have power for, I think, over 70 hours.
Okay.
Which is
I had no power for longer than 24 hours.
Well, I know. So you and Nolan both took the brunt of it. Chris Davis over here didn't lose power once.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
I didn't lose power or water.
Well, y'all...
My internet sucked for like 6 hours. I couldn't stream. So I just played games off the feed.
I learned two things very quickly. One, I developed a much deeper appreciation for like power and electricity because I kept thinking to myself...
Remember that running water conversation?
Not really.
Oh.
I never really considered like 50 degrees to be particularly cold, but when it's in your house and like you can't get away from it, it super sucks. It super sucks.
Get under a blanket, Nick.
Dude, we were under. Dude, also we again, you know this. We have a 21-year-old cat who was freezing the entire time. So it was like an entire day. It was an entire day of getting under comforters and blankets and snuggling with that cat to keep that cat warm. That was literally my day. And also just like I had my Switch battery only lasted like 3 hours, and then I didn't have that.
I get that true.
Man, I charged everything. I charged all my DSs and everything, and I played a variety of different games. I played some Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. I was playing some Mario 3D Land.
Man, I didn't think about busting out my DS. That was a dumb move. But yeah, so like that one day, I think it was Saturday, was like exceptionally boring. Yeah, I think it was Saturday, right?
No, it started on Monday. Tuesday. Sunday was when the last day, and then it hit Monday, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. We're getting into the nitty-gritty.
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember the specifics of all this because the whole week is a blur to me. But the one day where we didn't have power or anything, and it was just a bunch of hovering under blankets, reading books, and just hanging out trying to stay warm was like the most boring day of my entire existence.
I'm just glad that I have a fixed electrical rate. And that is, I'm not varying.
Consider yourself lucky. Some people are not so lucky. But anyways, neither here nor there. We didn't have a show last week. It was kind of crazy. So we're gonna play catch up tonight. David's here. Y'all are finally gonna get to talk about East 9. I know y'all have been wanting to talk about that for a while. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Little Nightmares 2, and
cool.
Among other
you like
things.
The first one, right?
I love the first one. I played
the first one. I was kind of like,
I mean, I don't think it's for everybody.
We'll talk
but
about it. I've been
things
playing
that I really
Little
loved about
Nightmares 2 as well.
So we'll talk about that.
Any of you guys play Bowser's Fury?
No, I started.
This motherfucker.
I've never played 3D World, and I'm playing that for the first time. So I'm doing that.
3D World, not 3D Land.
Yeah, but you should have dipped into Bowser's Fury because that's the shit worth talking about, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna. I haven't played enough of it either way to talk about it tonight. So next week I'll probably talk about.
Cool.
Okay, we'll play Bowser's Fury.
I will. I plan on it. Yeah. But anyways, that's probably not going to be tonight. I want to, of course, start with reading some feedback from last week because, again, I haven't done this a lot lately. My bad. But I want to encourage you guys to leave comments and stuff. So I want to read some feedback from 2 weeks ago. Mr. Green Toast pointed out that hearing Nolan sweat on the weather getting bad next week was semi-funny to listen to after living through that terrible week in hell. That was Texas. Hope y'all recovered from the event, which we just talked about. We did. We made it through.
Do you want to hear something embarrassing about Green Toast?
Does Green Toast want you to say this?
No, it doesn't matter what Green Toast cares or not.
Wow.
Well, it makes more sense now, right? Because he just
should we cut his mic?
He just made a comment. No. So y'all are doing the
I'm so sorry, Green Toast.
The club, whatever, the gamers
the revival club.
Revival club, and y'all are playing Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac or Final Fantasy 12, but not to. Could be Zodiac Age, depending on which version.
Everybody should be playing Zodiac Age.
So he's playing it right now to try to keep up with you. And there's two stupid things he did.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Why?
Because he fucking
when he started up a long time ago.
Yeah, he fucking he leveled up to like level 40 or something, and he's barely even got out of the first area.
When I talked to him when he first said he was going to start playing to play the Revival Club with you guys, he said, "Yeah, I played that game one time, but I don't really like it. I didn't get it." And I was like, "Well, how far did you get?" He's like, "Well, I didn't finish that first dungeon." I was like, "The first dungeon? Wait, you didn't get out of the first dungeon?" He's like, "No." And the first dungeon is the tutorial one where you're running around as Vaughn's brother.
Yes.
And I was like, "Well, how did you not make it out of the first dungeon?" He's like, "Well, I was just sitting there grinding the first dungeon trying to level up."
That's a character you don't even play as.
Yeah, and then he goes back and he started playing it. He's like, "You don't even get experience with that character. Like the guys you kill, you don't get shit for. It's just for you to learn how the game works." So like 10 years ago, he never played that game. He never got anywhere in that game because he tried to grind the first level. And then now, 10 years later, he grinded the firis area for 40 hours, like 20, 40 hours.
Dude,
so that he's beating
bosses. He is actively beating bosses that are whooping my ass in less than like 5 seconds.
The reason that's uber stupid is because the gambit system unlocks like as you play through the main story, and the combat system doesn't even get really good until you unlock some key gambits.
No, but the gambit system. Okay, so you're talking about the little programming mechanism.
Conditions, yeah.
But he's got all his license board all maxed out. Like every character he gets is the license board is already open.
I'd be interested to hear if he's even enjoying the game at this point. But like, yeah, I can't. He's talked about that a few times in Discord already, and I'm like, why did you do that?
He's a really weird kid, dude.
He
weird.
But he also produced a really funny highlight reel from last
David
year.
Plays Anything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He did make a video for me too.
Well, we should post both. I don't know. He makes good. Every once in a while he busts out some really great videos, and we're gonna post the one that he made for us to our YouTube channel this week. I'll post a link in the show notes.
Oh, he's supposed to make me a GIF too when he gets off of work.
What GIF?
Make me that GIF, Green Toast, please. Thank you.
Should we be paying Green Toast? I feel like
no.
But next, I have more comments. Mr. Scorpion. By the way, the last show we did was 2 weeks ago, and it was the show where we played all those demos for the Steam Game Festival. Yeah. Mr. Scorpion says, the pics of demos you guys showcased were very interesting and have me excited for all the smaller titles you don't always hear as much buzz about, at least for me personally. I wanted to give a quick thank you for maintaining the YouTube uploads of the podcast. This is for you, Chris Davis. I most frequently listen to the show when I'm working overnight and have to try and visualize games you're all discussing to the best of my ability, but I found going back and seeing the game in action, like with these demos, piqued my interest for them, even considerably more so in some cases. I thoroughly appreciate the dedication.
How did he spell peaked?
He spelled, oh my God, and I got to go back. He spelled it Peaked.
That's not right, right?
That's not. No.
That is
P-I-Q-U-E-D, right?
Piqued, yeah, I think David's right here. Yeah.
How did you know how he spelled it?
Because I'm reading the comment. Oh,
yeah,
David's just
P-I-Q-U-E-D. But yeah,
Dave was just picking up on commonly misspelled vocabulary. Well, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I like doing it.
Chris Davis is a very dedicated video producer. Speaking of video producer, we have our first batch of top 10 videos for 2020. Our first Game of the Year content for 2020 is out. You can watch Brad's top 10. You can watch Brad's top 10 Jimmys of 2020. You can watch my top 10, Ed's, and Carlos.
Oh, Carlos. Jimmy's top 10, like
top Jimmy's.
I think it's a top 10 Jimmy's, like
that is what they're called.
This is what
Jimmy's.
Sorry, I feel like David's been out of the loop a little bit. Jimmy's, hidden gems.
Right? Condoms are called Jimmy's.
I never thought about that.
That's why I was confused. Like Brad's top 10 Jimmy's, or Jimmy's top 10. Brad's top 10, Jimmy's top 10.
I don't think we thought that one through all the way, but hey, it's too late. We're already there. But the point is, you can watch our first 5 videos now. They're available on 4playernetwork.com. They're on social media. They're on YouTube. They're everywhere. They're in Discord. Check them out. We have a couple more coming down.
4 top 10 videos, and then there's a journey you can go on.
Yes. I am so sorry about Carlos's top 10 video this year. That's all I can say.
It took me a while to make.
It seems like it might be the easiest. It should have been the easiest one for you to
make.
It
took you a while to make. It took him a while to make.
I mean, it took him 6 hours to make his, but
I believe it didn't take you very much time at all. It took him quite a while.
Yeah, but when you have to scan through all the footage to find exactly when he speaks.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, I feel like we've already given too much away. If you're curious, go watch Carlos's video. By the way, this week I discovered the joy. I don't usually encourage this kind of behavior when watching our video content, but especially with our top 10 videos, if you watch it specifically at 1.5 times speed, it sounds like we just snorted a bunch of cocaine and just can't come down. Like, yeah, one, it makes us sound smarter, and two, it just makes us sound like we're just hyped up on drugs and we just can't come down, and we're just super excited about the games we're talking about, which makes for an interesting video. Anyways, moving right along. Slopdog says, glad you guys made it out relatively unscathed from the winter disaster from last week. I can't imagine waiting through that kind of cold through the night with no power or heat. God damn. What did y'all do to pass the time? Waiting for the power to come back on.
Don't you all have girlfriends, basically?
Yeah, but that... Okay, so... Dude...
That doesn't help?
I feel like I should...
That's the warmest heat a man could ever need.
Yeah, but when that 5 minutes is over,
I feel like I'm about to, if I let myself keep talking, it's gonna be that whole give me a second moment all over again. You know what I'm talking about? So, the point is, it was very boring, and I will like I said earlier, I could not believe how cold 50 degrees doesn't seem that cold, but man,
Dude.
It was so uncomfortable.
If I had a girlfriend, my windows would have been all fogged up.
Hey, what has everybody been playing?
Well, hold on there, cowboy.
Oh, okay.
One Mr. Boy is our last comment. He says, Star Fox is my #1 game of all time. I've got your back, Chris.
Thank you.
Star Fox? Which Star Fox?
He says Star Fox 64. He says,
okay, seriously, I was going to say, because there's no way the original Star Fox could be someone's #1 game of all time. There's no fucking way.
He said, seriously, though, great episode. I'm really excited to keep an eye on some of these games. The future is indie. Thanks for taking the time to play these demos. You guys rock, as always. You're very welcome. Anyways, guys, if you want to leave comments for next week, just go to 4playernetwork.com and leave a comment on the post for this episode, and we'll read it next week. And also, last thing before we get into impressions, we did record our Revival Club episode for Castlevania Symphony of the Night this week. I'm working on editing it now.
Go.
What's that?
You and Brad talked about it. Brad was
Me and Brad and Farrakhan.
Yeah, we talked about the double feature of Rondo of Blood and Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Rondo of Blood and... Kinda. Kind of. Sort of. I played enough to know what he was I played enough of Rondo of Blood to know what he was talking about. But I did get up to 197% completion on Symphony of the Night. So
you had never played Symphony of the Night before?
I had never played Symphony of the Night. That was my first time.
I feel like Brad, in the 10 years or some odd that
I bought that collection when they released it on the Vita a long time ago, and I started playing Rondo of Blood, and I did not like it, and I never.
What you had to do is you had to unlock Symphony of the Night, and I unlocked it for him. I unlocked it for him, and he still never played it.
That's right. But now I have. Now I've played it. I can say I've played Symphony of the Night, and it's an amazing game. So download that episode when it's available. I'm going to get that up as quickly as possible.
Did you beat it, though?
Yes, I beat it. I got 197% completion. I beat that motherfucker.
Okay.
It's a good game. It's a good-ass video game. Anyways, we're playing Final Fantasy 12 now as part of the Revival Club. So if you're interested in being a part of that, patreon.com/4player. But now I'm going to let these two, because they've been dying to do it for so long, I'm going to let you guys open the show with talking about East 9 which has some weird subtitle. I don't remember. It's in the overlay.
Monstrum Nox.
All right, take it away. I don't know where you want to start.
David,
Brad?
I just realized something. David, can you tap your mic? Yeah, you have your wrong mic selected.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not on my thing, right?
Wait,
oh god.
Maybe
we'll
stream,
do it
but
for the
not
second half. We'll switch out.
Discord, maybe just for Discord.
Sure.
Audacity is recording, right?
Yeah, Audacity is recording.
Okay, maybe you want to switch your mic in Audacity.
No, Audacity is Yeti for sure.
Okay.
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 So just switch it in Discord. I think it's not going to mess up Audacity, right?
He sounds fine. He sounds fine for right now. Let's do that in the break.
Okay.
As long as Audacity is good, we're cool.
Okay.
Anyways, East 9, the footage is rolling. Go.
East 9. Oh, the footage is rolling. I should look at this footage. Actually, I just recorded.
You're
this
just running
footage
around
today.
as Raging Bull right now.
Yes,
Oh,
I do.
I just did this part right here. Oh, never mind. You skipped it. Anyways,
I do.
East 9.
I do apologize for this footage because I'm just sort of running around the city, but it is one of the big new things about this one.
It's kind of like the open world city thing, right? Where you're just kind of, the map is kind of exploration, but kind of not, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I did not think this is what East looked like.
No, I mean,
well,
here's the thing. Ever since I played East 8 a few years ago, I've become a big fan of, from what I've played of the East series, I've liked everything about it. I haven't gone back and played Origin yet.
What is the kind of defining feature of East as a series, though?
Well, the thing is, it's changed a little bit. It's
changed a lot over the years.
It's not like the East 8 and East 9 are very, very similar. So if you want to play East, the modern day East, it's those two. And
okay,
yeah.
So here's what I'll tell you about. So I feel like I need to explain East 8 because the premise is kind of. So the premise in East 8, you start off as this guy named Adel Christian, right? He's a red-haired guy, and he's traveling on a boat with Dogi, his buddy Dogi. And
you always play as Adel, and Dogi's
in every single game
around. Yeah.
So now in this game, he's like 29 now or 27, but like previously he was like 25, and it goes back to when he was like 16 or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I'll say, okay. I'll say that this game opens up with you being arrested, and it's funny because the reason they're explaining for why you are arrested is because you seem like a person who gets into a lot of shit, and they're doing it by cleverly referencing past Ease games. Like, how come every time you're on a ship there's like a fucking shipwreck, and how come you're always finding these legendary weapons and they just disappear? Because every time you start an Ease game, you don't have your shit from the previous game, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
It's like a really jokey way to make that person look really suspicious, and that's the evidence they're using for why he was arrested.
So he wasn't
meta.
He wasn't caught trying to cross into Cyrodiil or something.
What?
Well, it's just
okay. Continue, or I'll continue.
well, the reason why I want to bring up East 8 is because in 8 you're on a ship, you start meeting all these passengers on the ship just really quick. It's like not even a 5-minute, 10-minute sequence where like you're in a room, and if you want to go around talk to everybody, you can, and you talk to them, and like I didn't even remember any of the people I talked to, and suddenly there's a monster attacks the ship, smashes it, shipwreck. You wake up on the beach. And then you're on an island, and you start walking around trying to figure out what happened. Eventually, you start finding other crew members, other guests on the ship, and then you just kind of form a little base. And this game all of a sudden becomes about you trying to like find everybody who's missing, try to collect resources, and then eventually get to a point.
Island.
Yeah, mapping out the island, and eventually getting to a point where you rebuild your ship, and hooray, you can set sail and get off the island. And
this
there's
is like Subnautica. You're telling me it's all about building your ship and getting off the island.
Sort of.
Maybe
you had me at Subnautica.
But part of it is the whole like searching the island, mapping it out, finding characters. You get like there's dinosaurs on this island, so you start getting attacked by dinosaurs attacks, and you have to like set up your base with like catapults and like racks of like raised like razor wire or whatever, but not real razor wire.
There's tower defense sequences where things are attacking your base, and you're trying
and it
to fight
made
them
a lot of sense in that game. in the frame of everything, because you're on an island and all of a sudden, yeah, dinosaurs attack. So yeah, it makes sense. Everybody's banding together to, like, say you have like little kids on your island too, and there's like a married couple, and and like some of them will join your party and help you fight everybody, and other people are just people in town that are like, protect us, we can't fight. We can launch cannons from afar, but we can't do anything, one-on-one. Okay, so that's how it's set up in East 8. The thing is, the whole overarching formula of 9 is almost the same, but you're not in a shipwreck. Like you go to it. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. You
go into a town, right? And then you get put in jail. And the first thing you do is you escape from jail. And as soon as you escape from jail, you get shot by this magic lady who has a magic gun, and the gun turns you into like basically an alter ego of yourself, like an emo alter ego of yourself. And you find out that there's 5 or 6 other alter ego people too.
They're like, they turned you into a superhero kind of.
Yeah, basically like against your will. So like now you're a superhero, and there's 6 other superheroes, and every so often
that's what a monstrum is. It's called a monstrum.
And then every so often this lady with the magic gun calls you all together to defend.
She summons the Justice League. Is what
yes, exactly.
No. It feels more like the Suicide Squad or something, right?
Sure.
Because she's telling you what to do, and the whole town is like a prison town, and you just kind of have to do what she says.
Right. And you get pulled into it, and you can't leave the town because there's some sort of magic barrier surrounding it, and you're stuck in town. And then you're going through it.
And the whole game takes place in the confines of the town
so far,
for the most part. Although I'm kind of in the outskirts in this footage, but yeah,
both of us have the place. Brad and I pretty much at the same identical chapter. We're like chapter 5 or something like that, and like we've it's to the point where you start heading outside of town. You slowly start breaking down the barriers further, and it becomes the whole East formula of like mapping out going around, searching, mapping out things, collecting items, going back to town. Eventually, like they attack, and there's some sort of like defense sequence.
Which I will say, so the formula is very similar to East 8. But I have played a fair amount of East 8, and I kind of feel, I think Dave maybe feel the same way, that at least at first, I don't know how I feel about it now, is that I feel like that sort of survival and island setting was a better fit for the formula. Here it feels first. Like they wanted to make that game again, but in a new setting. But the byproduct of that is a lot of the dungeons that you're doing, instead of having like cool island environments, like a nice like a nice forest or a cool like deserty area, they're like sewers and the prison.
That's the thing. The dungeons are not
underground.
They're just straight dungeons.
They're not nice to look at, right?
Yeah,
because you're in a city.
In East 8, you were like going up into the mountains.
Yeah,
you were like going up to the mountains and then crossing the other side of the mountains. Now you're in dinosaur land, forest in the swamp, and then there's like some underwater ground.
So basically, this setting is way more urban.
It's like the Dragon Age 2 problem almost, right? They wanted to tell this story. It is pretty good, and so is this game. We're getting to that, or I'm getting to that,
right?
Like Dragon Age 2, where everything's kind of around this city. And I will say, one of the things that is new about this game, is one of my favorite parts of it, is that you have this entire city that you're unlocking and you explore, and you have a lot, and it's very vertical, and you have all these new abilities as these monstrums sort of become your friends and join up, and you can switch between them on the fly and stuff. Each has their own like unique navigation ability, and once they join your team, you can do all of them, and you can string them together. Like one character can glide, one character can run up walls, one character can grapple to teleport to grapple points, one character has like detective vision, right, and that sort of thing, right? And now you have like, and as you're exploring the city, as you're unlocking new parts of the city, as you have new ways to kind of get around it, you're kind of finding all the secrets, like the chests and the graffitis and the there's like little orbs that are almost like crackdown orbs, and it becomes really fun to collect all this shit in the city.
The city is designed almost like a kind of like this open world exploration. It's weird. One of the weirdest things that keeps throwing me off though, Brad, is the fact that you're a monstrum. Nobody's supposed to know you're a monstrum. So you use your monstrum powers to like jump around on the rooftops and glide around and like grapple to grapple. But like if you like misjump something and then you fall down, like woo, and then before you hit the ground, you turn back into like normal person.
Yeah,
and it's like
so you have a disguise, right?
Yeah,
you have a disguise, or it's just kind of what you look like when you're not a monstrum. That when you're just walking around the city, that's how people see you, right? Like Adol has blue hair, which he's
wearing a wig.
This red hair. He has a wig, right? But if he like starts running up a wall, he just transforms, and people say, "Whoa, it's a monstrum." So functionally, the disguise, it's just stupid. It's
like the Superman problem.
But not even
it's a suspension of it's like someone seeing Clark Kent take off his glasses and start flying.
Right, but it's one of those things. But it's not even like it's not like you fly in the air and then like he's gone and you didn't realize he was Superman. This is me like trying to run up a wall and whoops, I mistimed the wall and I fall back down. I'm like, let me do that again. And then you're just like,
as soon as you hit the street again, you put your disguise back on. It's just like a suspension of disbelief thing. I get what they were going for, but it's kind of goofy, right? But it is fun to get around that city, and so I stopped playing Ys 8. I was enjoying it, but
do you like the character design? The bad guy enemy design, because it's very like a Halloween, like babies and clowns and weird things. Like
I'm not gonna lie. There's not much about this game that I like the look of.
Right.
The exception being I like the art.
You like Yufa.
I like Yufa. I like the art. I like the art
She's
in
got
the
big
menu.
moves, Nick.
I like the art in the menu. You know how there's like character portraits.
Yeah, but that's the same as Ys 8, though, right?
No, I know, but it's frustrating because
the 3D characters are very.
There's a lot of dialogue in this game, and it's not always voiced. It's very often not voiced. And I hate when they make good art and they never use the portrait art in the dialogue, because like with the way the dialogue is positioned, and you're having a conversation between a lot of people, especially like back at your bar, right, which is sort of like your little main base of operations.
You have a base in this game, straight up, like same thing.
You do. But what I'm saying about the dialogue is like it's like this game is very talky. There's a lot of story, right? But the only thing changing on the dialogue in that scene is the little name, right? So you're constantly looking at that name, and that's the only thing that's telling you a new person is talking. Very rarely in the game you actually see a portrait pop up. It's usually when you're having conversations with people out in the world and people in your group chime in, you actually see the portrait. And I don't know why they don't always use that, because it helps the readability of a very dialogue heavy game like this is.
Sure.
And I just
makes it a better and just makes it look better in general. It seems like
it looks better.
It seems like an odd choice.
That art is really good.
I think it's because they don't have that many art assets per individual character, right?
But you don't even need it.
But even if it's one, if the art is good, it's still better than nothing. In my
opinion. Are there any pictures
Hades characters didn't have that many different variations of their art, and yet I never got tired of looking at them. You know what I mean? And it made that game look great.
Is there even art of like Krysia? Like, is there art of her like as a normal person? Or is it just her 3D model?
I don't know. You're right. I mean, this is sort of a budget. This is a Falcom game, you know. These games don't sell millions. They do okay, but you know, they keep making games, and they make a lot of games because they kind of make games within their budget, and that's fine. I'm not going to fault this game for not having a ton of voice acting. Persona, I'll fault it for not having a ton of voice acting, because those games get huge budgets. Same with something like Breath of the Wild, right? I'm never going to fault a game like this for not having a lot of voice acting. You know, it's a little budget and it feels like it. This looks like a PS3 game at times. That's fine.
So what I love
plays really well.
What I love about the last game, and it's in this one to a certain extent, I feel like it's not as, I don't know. There's something about this one that's a little bit not as crisp as the last game. But so the East game, what's really, really interesting, different, sets itself apart, is that so you have Adol and he has a sword, and his color is like a red character class, which means he's a slash character. So his sword is like slashy, right? And then the bad guys in the game are always weak to one thing. So sometimes they're weak to slashy things. And then you have another character that's like a pokey guy. and he's like, "Oh, I've got
Pierce
like a poke
damage.
sword," and he's like a green one. So he like, and it was the same in East 8 too. There's like you got the pokey guy that has like some weapon that pokes people, and then you have a yellow one which is like the big knuckle person where he just, or a big hammer that he just does massive damage,
blunt damage.
Yeah, so blunt damage, exactly. And then so then you have those 3 different ones, and like in the last game you'd go out and like you fight some like a crab, and your like pokey and your slash stuff is not going to work on the crab because he's all big armor shelled. So you had to use the blunt guy to like crack the shell, so like you're switching between like rapid on the fly switch, like switching between the characters, like so that you can use the right class on the right bad guy. And it's just all very fast paced. Like you're just slash change slash, and then there's also like a dodge and a flash guard. Flash guard. So like you just, it's like parrying basically. So like right before they hit you, if you hit the button, you're like shing shing shing, everything will slow down into like, and you'll do more damage, or you'll have more time to like be. And so like a lot of the boss battles are all like set up on you learning which moves you can parry and then using them to hit the damage correctly.
It's very satisfying when you're timing that stuff right. Because that's how if you flash guard, all your hits do critical damage for a brief amount of time, and if you dodge perfectly, it slows down time, right? And you can even combine them to where you're slowing down time and spamming crit damage, and it's very fast and spammy, but it's very satisfying.
That shit always feels nice. And like,
and then in this game, it's not like a fighting game where like in this game, like you get hit, oh well, you just get back up and you have a life bar and you can take a certain amount of damage before it actually really matters. But there's times when you're like down to the very last, like all your characters are low health, and you're like, dude, I have to flash guard this stuff correctly, or I'm not gonna like beat this boss.
Yeah, I've been playing on hard, and some of the bosses have been really tough.
Yes, I'm struggling a little bit. But the worst part about this game are those weird like one-hit dungeons, right?
They have one-hit dungeons?
Yeah, they have these one-hit dungeons with like traps, and you're running. There's these like weird mini game shit things where it's like like get through this dungeon.
Okay,
and
where
then
you're
they have
playing is like, okay, there's like this. Okay, the thing about where we are in this game, and that the whole framing of this game is that there's this big mystery in this prison, right?
Right.
And you're trying to like
even mention that. So you escape from the prison at the very beginning, and you get out, and they lead you on some clues of like, there's a bunch of people locked up in the prison that aren't supposed to be there, and then like, and there's even one point
disappearing.
And there's even one point, I gotta tell this story, but there's even one point where, so you break out of prison, right? And then you need to break back into prison. So you need to find out information from inside the prison of the layout of the prison. So you go to a guy, you say, hey, can you get me the layout? And the dude's like, yeah, sure, dude. I'll just send my carrier owl pigeon into the prison and ask my inside guy to map out the prison for me. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you pay the guy, he sends the owl to fly in. The owl flies in, the guy gives it to who? Gives it to you. You're in the prison still. So there's like a in the prison you and an out of the prison you, and you ask yourself to map out the dungeon for you. It's
wait. It's a mystery that I've not really understood yet. So I think we just have to play more.
And I'm hoping the solution is interesting.
I think it will be. But
that
yeah,
sounds bonkers and weird.
There's 2 ADOLs.
Yes, there's 2 ADOLs.
Supposedly. I don't know what's going on. But
it's weird.
It's interesting.
And also another mystery is like all the characters. We're slowly meeting all the characters. Like all those people who are like in the Suicide Squad, we're meeting their, like, we know their alter egos, but we're meeting them we're coming across them in the real world, and they're like, hey, what's up? And then they join your party, and then
that's some of them you don't know who they are until you get a scene where it kind of reveals that, oh, this is. Some of them are pretty obvious, but others are less so.
Wait, so you're saying you're meeting their alter egos in the world, not really knowing for sure.
You've met all the Monstrums.
Crazy Gun Lady calls us all together to defend the village.
It's like if you met Batman, but you didn't know Bruce Wayne was Batman, and then you met Bruce Wayne. Okay,
and then you realize you've been interacting with Bruce Wayne, and then a scene inevitably happens where you're like, oh, you're Batman, right? So, again, some of them are kind of obvious. Like, for example, my fan favorite Yufa is like the only NPC in the city that has huge breasts. And then there's this one Monstrum lady, Raging Bull, who has huge breasts.
And they both have a little freckle under their eye, and it's like
I didn't notice the freckle.
You didn't notice the freckle.
He was too busy looking at the We know where you were looking, Brad.
You knew that was going to be Raging Bull.
As soon as you saw her, you're like, wait a minute.
And in the game, everyone acts surprised. Oh, you were Raging Bull the whole time? But it was a cool scene. I saw it coming, but the scene at the Coliseum, I totally saw it coming.
All the dudes in the group are like, come on, we knew.
Did you do that side quest with Dr. Sarati?
Yeah.
I have a quick question. How many Monstrums are in this game?
6.
There's only 6. Oh. There's 3 and 3, which
it's the same with the character classes. You know, you always have 2 slash characters, 2 poke characters, and 2 blunt characters.
Well, there is one new thing that they introduced in this game that I don't know if it's been in any other East game, because I think East 8 is the only one that actually had more than 3 characters that you could play as. Mm-hmm. In this one, you can actually equip an item that changes their weapon type. So,
really?
You notice how I'm using the 3 ladies, right?
Really?
But the thing is, 2 of them are blunt, right?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
White Cat and Raging Bull
and White Cat are blunt.
Yeah, but I have something equipped on White Cat that makes her piercing.
Cool.
So I don't have to use any dudes. I can use all the ladies. So that's a cool item.
That right there makes this game okay in Brad's book. I know.
There's that one girl doll that she like skates around. Dude, such an awesome.
Yeah, she skates around. That's so funny though, when the scene where she turns into a doll and goes through the jail bars.
That's so awesome. There's some really clever, like funny moments.
That's just, I guess, should we not spoil that her?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't spoil doll's identity.
I think you've peaked. I think you've peaked interest.
It's interesting. It's really great. If you, I don't know. I've read that this second half. In my only complaint about East 8 is that the East games are only like 7 chapters long, like 7-8 chapters long. Same thing with this one. It's only like 7-8 chapters long. Brad and I are on chapter 5 already, and he's probably like 15 20 hours into this game. But this is a 40-hour
20.
This is a 40-hour game. So the last like 2 chapters of these games are like 20 plus hours. It's really
and it's so
weird.
obvious who the last character is, by the way.
It's really
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it seems to me like it's like a JRPG thing in a lot of cases, where so many JRPGs, at least in my experience, are I don't know, because not every game is like structured with chapters, but like so many games are like just backloaded. Like I keep thinking about
it's one of the problems.
Think about Final Fantasy 13, where you're playing like 12 chapters of that game that are like an hour long, and then you hit like chapter 13, and all of a sudden you're in this one chapter in this one space for like
it's weird
20 hours, and it's
a weird pacing thing. It's really really weird, especially with East, because you will eventually fight through every boss again. There's like in East 8, the ending run is like you're in this weird time dungeon where it's like, hey, you're gonna go through every single there's like 20 floors, and you have to fight every single boss over again. And like
I hate that shit, by the way. I hate that shit.
I know.
It's just an RPG trope, you know.
But it's not, it's not that bad, because at this point you're a lot more like leveled up. But
it's a video game trope at this point. It's just really fucking annoying. I hate it. I hate it when games do that.
Yeah.
Do y'all have anything else you want to say? Because we do need to probably move on to the next thing. But anything else you want to say about
I'm wondering
if
I would recommend you play East 8 or East 9.
Because I remember specifically?
Well, I'll say one of the things I like about 9 that I was having issues with in 8 is that I find it a lot easier to get around, especially outside of dungeons.
You can teleport a lot. You can fast travel a lot easier.
You can fast travel, and the loading's real fast. Wait, I'm playing on a PS5 though, but and the maps are a lot more readable. I was so confused with the map system, and I was always getting lost in East 8. But here, I'm never getting lost. So. But
I mean, personally,
I think they're both probably good. I don't know.
I like the whole conceit of the Monstrum thing, like the whole
it's really cool.
Meeting their alter egos thing sounds really neat to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the coolest part, is that like I thought I was going to be disappointed because again, it's basically essentially the same shell frame of a game, just picked up and like supplanted here. You know, it's
Is
the
this
same
a series
like,
you can comfortably jump into without having any history with it?
yeah, I think so definitely. Because like as much they'll make references. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, you remember that time when we were in, you know, Dagobah and we did this? Haha, that was great, huh?" And it's actually referencing back to a past game.
Yeah,
But,
it doesn't actually matter because past games like pre-East 7 didn't even have much story. So
and you just gotta know, you just gotta remember that it's all the one same dude. Like he's like the lightning rod of like all
he's
the
Link.
The catastrophic events of the world. But no, but Link is different Links.
That's
this
true.
This is literally one guy, and he like imagine like, you know, the movie Armageddon, the movie, like name 5 like
I want to see where you're going with this.
No. So
Deep Impact.
No, because Deep Impact and Armageddon are the same thing. So like imagine like Armageddon, The Matrix, name some other like superhero like end of the world event movies.
It's amazing how when you ask me to do this, I suddenly can't think of any. But I've seen so many of them.
But just imagine like Men in Black, Armageddon, The Matrix, shit. Whatever. What's another movie?
How many do you need?
The Shyamalaniverse.
12 Monkeys.
What are we talking about?
You get Unbreakable, like all those movies, but like they're all the same main character. Like the same main character.
You're talking about the Bruce Willis verse or something?
As in they have no actual tangible connection other than the main character is the same in all of them.
No, but no. Imagine that they are all the same. Like after Ben Affleck like saved the world from like a meteor, he's like, "Oh man, I saved the world!" Woo! And then he goes to the next town, and all of a sudden, you know, like fucking. He started.
Matrix
I see dead people. Yeah, exactly. He's all of a sudden the main character in the Matrix.
I like how you suddenly just slowly brought in the Sixth Sense. So I see dead people.
I understand what David's saying. It's like he's the Forrest Gump of this world, right?
Yeah,
where everything important happens, he's at the center of.
That's a good. I like that.
Better.
That's a good. That was quite the journey we just went on there.
It's weird. It's really, really weird, man. I kind of like that a little bit. I kind of like that.
Well, y'all have been eager to talk about it for weeks, so it seems like y'all must be enjoying it to want to talk about it. So it seems cool. It has a lot of cool. I have like no history of this series. I didn't even know what this series like looked like or
that's what's surprising about it, because I had no clue. Do you remember Travis, who used to call
this video's looped
GameStop?
3 times now? We need to stop, or 4 times.
Remember when Travis used to call GameStop the guy Travis? It's like, "Hey, Travis."
Do I remember Travis? Oh,
hey,
Travis.
This is Travis.
Yes.
When we worked at GameStop, and then you know how many times he was like, So we had this kid at GameStop, and he was a little bit like special, and he would always call and be like, "This is Travis. I want to get Ys Ark of Nepishism."
He would always call.
Would that be a good game? That he literally asked me about Ys Ark of Nepishism like 7 times, like on 7 different occasions. He called me and asked me, like, would that be a good game to get? And I'm like, yeah, Travis, if you want to, you could try it. And if you don't like it, you know, you have 7 days. You can always return it. He's like, "Oh, okay. Can you hold it for me?" And then he came and bought it, and then went home and played it, didn't like it, and returned it. But then he called back like 6 other times to ask about it. So he probably, But that was
that kid in so long.
Before Ys 8, that was my experience with the Ys series. Was this guy calling me and saying, Ark of Nepishism?
That was the first Ys game I played. Yeah.
You think would that be a good game to get? That's all I knew about Ys.
I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm really not. I thought I'll never forget it because I thought it was funny because David's actually not exaggerating this guy's voice.
Seriously.
And then he came into the store for the first time after I had talked to him for like 100 times, and he's like taller
like
than David.
Grown up, scary, skinny guy.
I was like, what? Sorry, I just thought that was pretty funny. I had forgotten completely about that. Thanks for reawakening these memories, David. All right, we need to move on.
Ark of
we need to move on.
That's the first time I ever heard about the game. It's because he asked me about it.
Wow, that's
I bought that for Steam last week.
That is a trip down memory lane. All right, we're moving on. I want to talk about Little Nightmares. I don't have a ton to say about Little Nightmares 2.
It's the same premise, right? You're like, it's kind of like Limbo, but not Limbo, right?
See, Brad made this comparison to Inside, and
it's kind of like
yeah.
Inside with nothing to do, really.
But here's the thing, here's the thing. I don't even think that's a very fair comparison here, because
it's not. I'm being rude on purpose because I'm not in love with this game. But
you feel like you actually get scared by this game. It's like creepy.
Okay, here's the thing about Little Nightmares 2, and I you did get my footage of this. Okay, cool. Sorry.
This is 2 right now playing, because this looks like 1 to me. Or
dude, it is the same engine. It is probably a cleaner looking game. Like they've improved the visuals, but it is the same engine, same art style, same everything. Even mechanically speaking, this game, for the most part, with a few minor exceptions, plays exactly the same. This game is not trying to reinvent the wheel here. This is very much capitalizing on what the first game did well, which was create this really distinct atmosphere and tell a really unnerving story. If you're going into this game, because Brad talked about it, he was saying like he was kind of bored, it didn't scare him or whatever, and I was like, I don't think this game really intends to scare you. I mean, there's a few moments where I was like, I got creeped out.
This motherfucker. There's no way this is your first playthrough of this section.
Well, of course not. I recorded this today. I've beaten this game.
Those quote unquote puzzles were like, go ahead.
No, I recorded this footage today. I have already finished. I beat this game 2 weeks ago at this point. I was supposed to talk about it last week, but obviously that didn't happen. But like, I don't think Little Nightmares ever sets out to actually scare anybody. It's like watching. I think that this game reminds me of like Beetlejuice, the movie Beetlejuice. Like when they go into like the weird world and everything's all kind of contorted and people can like change the shape of their faces and stuff, and like it's weird and it's kind of creepy, but like nothing's outright scary. They do a lot of things with. I mean, the thing the first game kind of did was like each chapter kind of focused on this like one like primary like monster that kind of chases you around that level and that environment, and they were all just really creepy and kind of had their own thing. And this kind of game kind of does the same thing, but it's really just more about the design and more about like coming up with cool, creepy like nightmare fuel. And
this is puzzly, right? There is like
it is puzzly. It is puzzly.
It's not really that
light.
That's my problem, because I remember when I played the first one, it's not like really puzzly. It's just like kind of click on this.
This is not. This is not Limbo. This is not Inside. This is not. This is like if I feel like Inside is like 60% puzzle design, 40% like atmosphere. This is like 90% atmosphere, 10% puzzle. It's literally like it is so forgiving and it's checkpointing that it's like every time you walk into a new room, it kind of auto saves. So if you fuck something up, it just starts you over right there.
Forgiving is not a bad problem. I don't mind.
No, I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying it is not. It doesn't want to impede your progress. Yeah, I know. Thank you, David. It doesn't want to impede your progress. It doesn't want you to get stuck for any super long period of time. It doesn't want you to like struggle with the puzzles. It wants you to.
It doesn't, because I feel like I struggled really badly in the first one. Like what the hell am I supposed to? Like I saw there's a clip earlier where you walked into a room and then you just jumped up and down and a trap door opened, and I was like,
that took me a while. I mean,
it's like, how the fuck are you supposed to know there's a trap door there?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this game obviously uses puzzles, and that is kind of its. When you're not just running through the world and kind of taking in the surroundings, which I think is the bulk of the experience, and just kind of soaking up the atmosphere, the design of the game is to do these like really light puzzles.
You die a lot in this game?
You do,
because I've watched. Yeah, I've watched for like a minute, and I'm just seeing like random shit just jump out everywhere.
Did you see how close that thing came to killing me there?
Well,
it's a lot of trial and error. Traps and like being chased by things, right? And it's like you need to go left, but I went right. You know,
that was one of my problems with the JJ Macfield game.
JJ Macfield, what is that?
You never played JJ Macfield? You should play that game.
That one's more explicitly a puzzle game, though. This is
but
I feel like the thing about the puzzles in this game is I feel like when they're there, they're kind of like not amazing, right? I feel like that's why this isn't a puzzle game, because I think they're not really good at making puzzles.
I don't think this is a puzzle game. This is
but it's not a puzzle game because there's not a ton of them.
No, but I don't think you should fault it necessarily for not being a puzzle game, because I don't think it's trying to be. I feel like this has more in common with like maybe even walking simulators than but I don't know, even walking simulators, depending on which one you're looking at, are puzzly.
But your enjoyment is what? Like, you don't mind fucking up in this game. You don't mind like getting hit, smushed, and then like, oh, I gotta walk forward.
I mean, here's the thing. The footage you're watching is me after not playing for 2 weeks and picking it up and just trying to I forgot the trap. I forgot these traps in this level even existed until I was like, oh fuck, I forgot about the boards. You can step on the boards and it triggers these like Home Alone traps and shit. I forgot that was there. But
the first time through, you were dying on this stuff, right? So like, what? You don't mind like picking it, like just doing over sections again?
No, because I don't think you ever, with one exception in this game, there's one room in this game that I found to be exceptionally frustrating and difficult. It took me like 45 minutes to do one room, and that was absurd to me.
45 minutes. You were struggling with the timing or something. There's a lot of timing stuff.
No, there's one section of this game that honestly is pretty cool from a like conceptual standpoint. You have to use you have a flashlight, and there's these like creepy enemies everywhere that will only move when they're in the darkness. So you have to shine lights at them to get them to stop. And there's one room you go into, and you're literally surrounded by these fucking like creepy mannequin dudes. And you have to like run through this room and use your light to try and like kind of keep them like crowd control to like get through this room. And I just couldn't find a path through the room where I could keep them all stopped long enough to get me through the room. And it was super frustrating. But like outside of that one exception, these puzzles are not designed to be hard to like keep you stuck or like even when I like died and I got hit by a trap or something, and you hit a little moment of trial and error, you're never stuck for more than like 2 or 3 minutes tops before you're moving on to the next thing, because they want to keep that momentum going. Because the real focus of the game, the real treat of the game, the reason I wanted to play this game is because I just want to see the world. I love just kind of how they took this concept and made it a reality, like turned it into what's on the screen. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it has a really unique approach to horror, quote unquote. And that's what I want. That's what I'm here for.
I have 2 questions. One, you're at this part where you're sneaking by some lady at a chalkboard, and she's turning around and looking at you, and you're hiding by the thing. How many times does that kind of thing happen? Because I feel like that exact same scene was in the first one. I feel like
this game is very similar to the first game.
You say a lot.
Really feel that first game, you're probably not going to really feel this one.
Brad, first of all, you haven't finished the game. I have.
That's true.
That exact scenario that David just pointed out may have happened in the first game, but you said it happens a lot. Like it happens over and over in this game. That is not like representative of like
where you're like hiding from something.
No, but
see the shit on the screen right now. That's why you play this game, because of cool, grotesque monster set pieces and stuff.
Right, like, the set pieces are amazing.
The stuff you like, I think this game does really well. The reason I'm not feeling this game, the reason I stopped playing it and honestly sent it back to gameplay, even though this is not a very long game, is because I feel like that's all it has going for it. And then there's a lot of walking around, and I found myself getting bored. I feel like if this game was as good at like, puzzle design as something like Limbo, if there were a lot of more puzzles, this game would be a fucking rated just as highly as like Limbo or Inside, right? And I feel like you could take the puzzles out of Inside, and you just have a good atmosphere game or whatever you're calling this thing,
and that's what this is.
But that's only what because. But that's because, first of all, I think we're calling it an atmosphere game because I think that's the only thing this game is actually good at. But it is good at that.
I know. And first of all, I haven't even really had a chance to really tell y'all how I feel.
Hello? Nick dropped.
You killed
for
Nick.
Me, at least.
Your contempt for this game killed Nick.
But look,
could you?
I played it too. I'm just giving my opinion.
I don't know if Nick can hear me, but
drop and come back.
My next question for him, My next question for him is going to be, why is he okay at failing at this one and dying multiple times, but not like some other games that he's played recently?
I'm sure he's looking forward to answering your question.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to be antagonistic. I know he likes
I'm not
it.
trying to be.
I'm just giving my own experience, and it sounds like the strengths of this game are outweighing the things that are very frustrating.
Well, I couldn't remember what I was frustrated about this game, but I think I remember. I just can't stand the trial and error stuff. Like,
yeah, so this is not the series.
I can't stand the I walk forward and some random thing flew out of nowhere and killed me, and then this time when I walk forward, I'm just going to like not walk forward all the way yet. And then I get past it, but then I take 2 more steps and something else flies out and kills me. I'm like, okay, well this time now I'm going to walk forward, not walk too much forward. And then after I walk forward, then not walk forward again because the second thing is there. Anyways. Is he okay?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Someone text him or something. That's what our producer should be doing right now.
Oh, come on.
That's Gerb.
Man,
oh, there you
Brad is so terrible.
Okay,
here.
Nick,
did you lose your recording? Is you okay? What happened?
Still recording. My internet just dropped.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
and then
all right, the floor is yours, Nick. I want you to.
I'm still recording, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fine.
What did y'all even do?
No, we kept talking. I want to ask you a question, Nick. What do you like about this game? And or outside of the atmosphere, or how has your experience been? And 2, I want to ask you, does the story like kind of develop into something that is, you finished this, right? Something that is like interesting or rewarding? Because to me, I didn't get far enough, and it just seemed
is there an overarching
I was
story?
doing things to do things.
Like is there so like he's like a kid down on his luck, and at the end of it, he sprouts wings and flies away.
Here's the thing. No. The thing about the story of Little Nightmares, and this applies to the first game, the second game, the story, it has characters, it has a through line, but it is treated like a dream. Like nothing is ever explained. Nothing makes sense. Like if you're going through, expect there to be.
Like, do you feel inspired at the end of it?
Do you ever feel inspired by nightmares that you have or dreams that, I mean, this is literally the point of the game is literally to like create this sense of being in this like inside a nightmare or a dream, or nothing feels right about it. Nothing makes sense. There is a thing that happens at the end. I can't sit here and tell you I understand exactly what happened. I think it's left up to interpretation. So in that sense, if that kind of thing doesn't appeal to you, if that's not very satisfying to you, then I can't see you coming out the other side and really enjoying it.
That's also very Limbo and Inside. So,
yeah, but Limbo has kind of like it's even if it's a sad ending, it has like ending, right? Or like
yeah, and this does too. This absolutely does too. I'm just saying the story in this game is never overtly explained. Like you don't even know who you are or what your role in this world is. You just wake up and weird shit is happening around you, and you just kind of roll with the punches because you don't know.
Little Nightmares is Japan developed, right? So it's like a Japanese developer.
No, this is developed in somewhere in Europe.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a Japanese
something.
I think it might be It's either. I don't know. Somebody in chat looked this up.
I would be interested. I think I would be really, really interested, Nick, for you to play. I would be really interested for Nick to play JJ Macfield. And
this is the second time across 2 games you've brought up. Or no, or I don't remember.
It is a puzzle platformer in the vein of like maybe something like a Limbo. It's a sweary game. That's actually, from what I understand, pretty decent. But I want to, Nick.
I haven't even got
final thoughts. Do you like this more than the first game?
No, I don't. I absolutely don't. I think this game has some incredible moments. Specifically, that opening chapter where you're being chased through the woods by this like giant hunter with a shotgun.
Oh my!
I was like, this is incredible. Like I'm loving this. I can't wait to see what this game does to top this. And I don't feel like it ever does.
You played Limbo.
Yeah, of course.
You remember you know what my most memorable moment from Limbo was like getting into that village, all the kids running around like trying to kill me, and then there's this giant spider later, right? The giant.
Everybody remembers the giant spider. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's I don't know why does that work for me, but like not this.
I mean,
one?
I don't know. It's a personal preference thing. I find this like weird Tim Burton style horror acid trip to be really appealing. Some people may not.
Did y'all beat Inside?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the ending? What's the meaning of the ending?
We don't need to talk about Inside.
No, because I remember that game came out. I beat it, and I was just like, at the end, I was expecting some sort of like ascendant, like
everybody was expecting something, and they went like left field. They just
end up in the end of the game. You end up like a massive flesh ball.
No,
of body.
no,
you're
don't
first of all,
spoil it.
do not
spoiler, is it?
I feel like that is one of those that is one of those like there is that
it's a spoiler.
You do not spoil that part. No, that's the kind of thing.
That's something
like,
special, honestly.
No, but it's so stupid.
No, dude,
that was stupid.
amazing.
You're like flopping around. You're like, what the fuck is even going on?
Look, man, I want to talk about triangle strategy.
Play JJ Macfield, Nick. You own JJ Macfield? It's like
okay.
It might be $3 on the Switch. Do you have a Switch?
Of course, I have a Switch.
It's not $3 on the Switch, but it is on sale often, and I do hear good things.
No, it was like. It was $3 on the Switch. I promise you. Let me see if it still is.
Can I just right now? Can I get one last thought in on Little Nightmares before we take a break? I really enjoyed this game, but like I said, it kind of like blows its load in the first chapter. I feel like it has some good moments for the other chapters, but I feel like Little Nightmares was a consistently stronger experience. Like all the set pieces in each of the levels in Little Nightmares 1 were more memorable. And it all built to like a really incredible moment. Like I always compare the end of Little Nightmares 1 to like Spirited Away, where you're like running over the table like while all the people are like stuffing their faces and shit. And that was an incredible moment. And then it culminated in this like really creepy boss fight with the mirror lady and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like this game ever quite achieves that level of kind of like greatness. But it's good. If you like Little Nightmares 1, I don't think there's anything that should stop you from playing Little Nightmares 2.
I will say, though, after hearing you say that, I'm kind of glad I stopped playing.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds to me. I don't think
I played that first one, and it was fine.
You finished the first one, Brad?
Yeah, it was fine.
See, Brad's reaction, he played the first one, he thought it was fine. I played the first one, and was like, that was incredible. I loved that game. So I came into this one super high expectations. I was like, if this game...
I'm really not trying to start anything, Nick. I don't want you
to take going to anyways.
No, because I'm curious. I'm just trying to understand. Like, you're okay at failing at this game and dying multiple times. It's not a big deal to you. Like, it doesn't bother you. There's no like, because I remember when we were talking about Hitman, you were like talking about how you wanted to get through it perfectly.
I think you're no, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, and I'm trying to understand what's this. Maybe I'm just not.
Hitman is a power fantasy about wanting to me, is a power fantasy about wanting to be an assassin. So you want to feel like an assassin.
Right.
When you just die over and over again, you fuck everything up. You don't feel like an assassin. You feel like an idiot.
Right.
This game is not a power fantasy. It's just it's a dream. It's a trip. It's just
I don't know. In my dreams, I'm always like running around doing cool shit and like talking to ladies and. Oh, do you want to hear about my dream the other day?
Okay.
No.
I dreamed the other day. I had a dream the other day where I was in future jail. I shit you not.
Fading to break.
So I've been playing Conception.
Nope, David.
No, I don't want to hear about
David.
Conception. You've talked about Conception. I'm talking about mine.
But these guys haven't heard it.
They fucking have.
I'm sorry, we can't talk about it tonight because you did not bring us footage.
Do you know how many JRPGs I've talked about in front of these guys, and their eyes just fucking glaze over? And I'm talking to our 3 viewers.
I swear to you, Conception, they would not. They would not. It would be riveting.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. We don't have any time, and I'm talking. No, stop it.
Let me explain the premise.
David, stop it. I will
just the premise. Just the premise.
No. We know the premise. I don't care. I don't care.
You know the premise.
Look, we have this thing called a 4-player minute, and if you want to bring up Conception during your 4-player minute, go for it. I want to talk about Project Triangle Strategy. It says demo that came out
it.
as a part of the Nintendo Direct. Everybody's been asking my opinion because it's Final Fantasy Tactics Dream Come True, that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also because it's from the same team. It's from the same team that did
Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler.
So is there a reason why it's called triangle strategy? Is it some sort
I have
of
no
like
idea, but let me tell you,
Fire Emblem, the triangle of balance of power or something like that?
Oh, I think it has something to do with the scales of justice or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Some sort of like so you make a lot of choices in this game. But we'll get to that later, and I think that's probably what the triangle is referring to. The reason a lot of people are asking my opinion is because at a glance this looks a lot like Final Fantasy Tactics. It looks like Tactics Ogre, and in a lot of ways it is like those games. I think this is very clearly inspired by Tactics Ogre specifically, which is, the spiritual predecessor to Final Fantasy Tactics, so it's all very similar. I think the reason that the core thing that this game is doing that I think makes it so specifically Tactics Ogre, outside of the fact that it is of course a grid-based strategy RPG, but there's a lot of those, is that there are points in the story where you are making major decisions, like moral choices that are like in this demo, for example, which takes place over 2 chapters. It's the bad dudes from roll in, they kidnap they take the king hostage. It's like a coup, right? And they behead the motherfucker, right? They kill the king.
Oh, okay.
And you're the main character's like friend is like the son of the king, and he and they're from a neighboring country who's again loyal to royalty or whatever. And they're like, well, let's get the fuck out of here. So you take this dude, this prince or whatever, and you jet, right? But then once you get back to your castle, you're having this conversation of like, okay, they're gonna come kill us. Do we turn over this Prince Roland, or do we try to because it's the better thing for the greater amount of people, for our people, so they don't kill all of our people and stuff trying to get him? Do we turn him over, or do we defend him? Do we protect him, right? And you literally make that choice in the demo, in the story, and the story dramatically diverges depending on what you do, because
we played both.
You're either fighting the bad guys, or you're sort of making peace with them by giving over this prince, right? And one of the unique things that this game is doing is that your crew or whatever, right? Your party of people who fight with you, and they're on your council, they're your friends, people you've recruited along the way. They have an opinion on what they think you should do, right? Ultimately, you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to turn over the prince. You're going to keep him. And one of the mechanics in this game is like this voting period where it's not just your choice. You actually go around, you ask your subjects, and you actually try to persuade them to your side, because everyone sort of has their opinion. And then you do a vote. Are we going to give this prince over to the bad guys, or are we going to defend him? And it's kind of cool, right? Because you actually go, and it's like fucking Survivor or some shit, where everyone's walking up to the scales of justice to make their fucking vote. And at the end, if you haven't persuaded enough people to the one you want to choose, I don't know what the fuck happens actually. Maybe the story has to go that way. Or no, what happens is I think you get the final say, but if you don't convince people on your crew,
there's more chance that they like dislike.
They might leave your party. They might actually say, "Fuck you! I'm not against this. You didn't convince me." And one of the ways that there are actual like dialogue options that you get into conversations with these people in your crew, and you're trying to convince them to come to your side, but some of those options are locked. And the way you unlock those options is that I actually thought this was really cool. Is that the main character's like, you know what? I need to think about this. I'm not ready to make a decision. I'm not ready to talk to you about this. I'm going to hit the town, talk to the people, see what the people say, right? And you go around this map, and you're talking to people, and as you have conversations with people, like it's basically giving you little ideas, and those are dialogue choices that you're unlocking for later when you're trying to persuade the members of your crew to your side. So when you make the vote, your team is basically all with you when you make a major story decision, which is
That's
a
cool.
really cool idea. A really cool idea. My only concern about that is it if I talk to like everybody in the town, am I going to get into a situation where it's going to be too easy to get everybody onto my side? Like when I played the demo, and I played the demo twice because I wanted to see how much it diverged depending on the story choice it did, and it did diverge fucking dramatically. I wanted to see, and I think both times everyone was on my side. I think maybe the second time one person didn't agree with me, but nobody left the party or anything. But that's a really cool conceit to take this idea, which I think originated in Tactics Ogre. Tactics Ogre was all about, you get to a point in the story and you have to make like a serious like decision that is going to affect your alignment, right? You know, Tactics Ogre was all about, are you going to end up like lawful or like chaotic, you know? And there's like lawful evil, you know, is like a super evil and stuff, right? But you know, in Tactics Ogre, you're killing villages for the greater good, you know, or you're not, right? But it diverges and it affects what characters you get. And I think this game is going for that. And I think it's going to be one of its biggest strengths. And they're gamifying that in an interesting way instead of it just being like a dialogue choice.
I have a question.
So I think that's one of, yeah.
And maybe I'm getting a little ahead of you here. I don't know. But how do you, because it sounds like it has a lot of really cool ideas. How are you feeling about this game knowing what you already know about, specifically how you feel about Octopath Traveler, which is you pretty much hate that game, don't you?
That would have been my question.
Okay,
do you have confidence in this developer?
I liked the demo. Okay. I don't like Octopath Traveler. I think it's a bad game, and I think they were bad at making that kind of game. I could talk all night about why I think it's bad. This game does not have to succeed in the same ways that game had to succeed to be a good game. You know, it's hard to make a classic JRPG and make one good, especially when all you have are these little bite-sized fucking Look, I'm not going to talk about Octopath Traveler. All I'm going to say is I didn't like that game. I do like what I've played here, and I want to get to the combat and stuff. Well,
the thing is, can they sustain it for like a long story over a long haul?
I think they can. I don't know how. So Tactics Ogre, you took like these very divergent like story paths, and it would affect the characters you get, but you would always sort of end up in different points of the story, like in similar spaces, right? And then you diverge again. You make a big decision. I think this game can sort of, since it's such the focus, right? It's such the focus of the game. I think they're designing the game around all these different choices and diverging story paths. I think they could keep up with it. There are some flaws. One, this is not written as well as a Matsuno game, right? It's just not. But it is good and it is compelling because I'll get to that in a second. One of my major issues with this fucking demo is I think the voice acting is really bad. Everything's voiced, but I think the voice acting is bad, especially the main character.
Posted on Twitter, and I straight up, I had plans to play the demo before this show. I canceled them the moment I heard that. I was like, that is so bad.
Sure. Well,
but I haven't deleted
some of the characters sound okay, but like the main character sucks. His like mentor sucks. Like some of the characters just sound really bad. And this game doesn't come out this year. It comes out next year. They're asking people to like, you know, via polls, like tell us what's wrong with this fucking thing. They did
fix the voice acting.
Fix the voice acting is what people need to be saying. The other issue I've had is that, and again, this goes into presentation, and I'll talk more about this when I get into combat in a second, is that I think that the visual style, which a lot of people really liked, was okay in Octopath Traveler, a game where you're just walking around towns, walking around dungeons, getting into traditional JRPG fights where there's a big sprite and then your dude's attacking them, right? But in a strategy RPG where you're on a small grid controlling a bunch of little characters, and a lot of information needs to be communicated, like my hit percentage, like what element am I doing, whatever the fuck, right? Like various parts of the environment are reacting, like this thing's on fire, right? And this is water that's been electrified or whatever, because it's got some like, you know, cool elemental reaction stuff in this game. The visual style is too busy for a strategy RPG. They really need to dial back some of the effects, because this game has a readability issue where I'm struggling to like
they're all the same color. Everything's like yellowish color.
Everything's really yellowish, especially in this map. But like when you're selecting things and choosing your direction, everything is so glowy and it looks nice in a trailer. But when you're just trying to play a game, it's really distracting and it really gets in the way and it slows you down when you want to play. You're like really snappy.
If you fuck up moves because of it, that's not.
Oh yeah, it's a problem. I mean, it could lose you the match, right? Because one of the other things about this game, and I think it's a positive, is that it's really challenging. I've had a really like hard time like getting through some of these battles, and one of the things that might be a little hard to describe that I think has one of the best strengths I've noticed playing this game is that there's a lot of it has a lot to do with the decision making, talking to the townspeople, voting, making these decisions. No, we are not going to hand this prince over. Well, they're going to come at us with fucking everything we got, and there's no way we're going to be able to like fend them off. We should just give them away. And you're like, no, we're going to fucking do it. I talked to this dude in town. He said there's something about these traps in this town. There's a lot of buildup and story and conversations about the upcoming battle. In fact, before every battle, you kind of walk around the battlefield. You're talking to people. You're getting the lay of the land. That's where you're going to fight your fight. In fact, in this battle, there are these zip lines that sort of take you up to the top of the map, because when you start the battle, it's a bunch of archers shooting you down, right? You take these zip lines up to the top of the map. It's an interactable thing, which is really good in a strategy RPG to have cool stuff to interact with on the map, like switches. On the other map, it was like traps and stuff, especially elevation. But as I was doing that, one of the zip lines wasn't working. It just said it wasn't working. I'm not even in the battle yet. I'm walking around like a JRPG.
Oh, so
I go into a house
great.
and I talk to an old guy, and he's like, "Oh, it's not working because of this. You need to talk to this person." And before the battle even started, I fixed an element in the battle that I later used to succeed in this fight, and that's super cool. I've never seen a strategy RPG do anything like that before, and that's cool. It's one of the but all that builds up and it adds like a weight to the battle. Like before I even get into the battle, I know what's coming and I know it's going to be hard and I know I'm going to have to do these things. And while some strategy RPGs, you just end up in a battle and you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to start killing these dudes.
Right.
It made me care about the battles more, which was cool. In fact, you don't see that a lot. It's in Final Fantasy Tactics. It's in Tactics Ogre, but you know, some games don't do it that well. It was done extremely well here. So I started to care about the battle more. Now, I need to talk about some of the nitty-gritty to the combat because people have been asking me. I think the core of it's good, right? It has a lot of verticality. It has a lot of interactive elements in on the map, right? This isn't one of those flat fucking Fire Emblem maps, or a lot of strategy RPGs are really boring with their map design. This I can already tell just from doing 2 different battles. Or 3 different battles. Great map design, right? There is that little readability issue. It kind of makes everything feel a little clunky, honestly. But I can't tell people that this is going to be a great strategy RPG, in my opinion, because a lot of what I like about Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre, games like Failsail, games like Horizon's Gate, is like you have to have really amazing, like in my opinion, really amazing progression. Like it's all about making your team, making like setting your characters to the classes you want, like doing good class combos, right? Leveling up as this class so he can pass on this skill to this other class, and really making it feel like you have a ton of options in a game like this. That's what Final Fantasy Tactics succeeds at. That's what something like Fire Emblem is honestly a little shallow at, right? There's not a lot of customization to your characters. They've gotten better in recent years. The problem is in this demo, you don't really get to see a lot of that either.
I feel like that's a hard thing to convey in a demo in general, because
okay. Yeah. Which it's a hard thing to convey in a demo, and it could end up being really good. But there are some things in this demo that are sort of like warning signs. One is that you can equip a weapon and 2 accessories. It's not like armor, gloves, boots, and stuff. So you already have less options of customization, and that's something that I don't think is going to change. It's like a UI element. You can't actually change what's equipped on a character, but you see those things. You see a weapon, you see 2 accessory spots. That's already kind of limiting one part of the customization. Now, if there's a job class system, they're not showing it yet. But as I was leveling up in battle, while I was fighting the battle, I hit like a new level or whatever. It unlocked a skill that I didn't have access to before. That if that's actually how you unlock new skills, that's a sign that that sort of customization is not actually going to be that deep, right? Like think about like Final Fantasy IV, right? You get new abilities just as you leveled up. Dragon Quest does that too. Some of the Dragon Quest games, you hit level 16, you unlocked Cure 2 or whatever. Right?
They don't give you any agency.
That's not a rewarding.
Kind of, it's all automated.
It's all automated and you don't have control over what your character's doing. While later Final Fantasies, you know, like the materia, he has whatever I'm doing in the fucking menus and stuff. That's not a deal breaker for everybody, but for me, that's the kind of stuff that makes me really love a strategy RPG. So I can't tell people that I think this is like a Final Fantasy this lives up to the Final Fantasy Tactics name, because I have to see that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot I like here. There's a couple of those complaints that I had with visuals, with voice acting, and then there's a lot of stuff that I just don't know yet. But I'll tell you this much, I'm way more excited and interested in this game, about this game, than I ever was Octopath Traveler, which I think is just a bad game. But that's another podcast.
Well, I'll say this. It certainly looks interesting to me. I was a little put off by the voice acting. I didn't delete the demo yet, so I still plan to actually play it. You know, I don't have as much of a history with tactics RPGs and stuff, but
you know what the biggest turnoff for me was, looking at like when I saw the map and it was all like yellow, and I was like, I don't know if I want to play this game.
Well, do you think the color language to the maps would be better if you were just playing on a TV instead of just handheld?
Well, here's the thing.
I've played both, and again, this environment, I walked around this environment before I got into the battle, and before there was battle UI, I thought this environment looked great. Like the music changed and like the music sounded cool, and I was like, this is fucking cool. I'm gonna be fighting here. This is cool. I can already see what kind of battle this is gonna be. But as soon as I started playing, they have all these UI elements that glow so fucking much, and they're in your face, and they're overlapping.
Tone that down.
Stuff that looks cool.
David, are you specifically referring to just the general like color?
Well, I mean,
color
just
scheme that they've gone.
Yeah,
with?
It just looks like it would be mad, because like the multi-tiered stuff, like in Tactics, it was like that, right? Where in like you could only hit stuff that was like half a step above you, right? If it was like 2 steps, then your sword swing wouldn't be able to hit him, and like that's, you would waste her if you didn't know. Like there's a specific there's a little meter that tells you how high they are above you. Like you could actually tell everything. Like this looks like a nightmare. Where if I like,
are you saying that the colors? There's too many clusters of similar colors to make it harder to distinguish.
It's just gonna take you an extra second. Like you're gonna have to like look.
Yeah,
like,
it slows you down, right?
Yeah.
Like, some of my favorite strategy games are like Advance Wars, which is like so readable, so snappy, right? Go go go. This is like, I stare at it, right? And I will say this map is worse than the other 2 maps, because you're literally on a field of golden, you know, wheat or whatever the fuck. But I will say they like really build up this map, right? There's a fucking painting of this golden wheat on like the person you're fighting's in his room, right? And he points it out and he's like, that's what we're fucking defending here, you know. They're coming to like attack our shit, we're defending that. And it's like, man, you've done a good job of like telling a story, you know.
Yeah, it sounds so. I was just gonna point out, because I don't have, like I said, I don't have that history, so I don't really I'm gonna have to play it to kind of dig into how the color scheme kind of impacts the readability of everything. Personally, I love that they kind of kept the visual style of Octopath Traveler, because I was really bummed that I didn't like Octopath Traveler as much as I would have liked, because I loved the way that it looked. So I'm glad to see them keep that here. But this color scheme made me instantly kind of think of Vagrant Story for some reason.
Well, yeah, okay, so yeah, it's
and I loved
so Akihiko Yoshida, who's been doing the art since Ogre Battle, Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vagrant Story, right? Does all the character art and a lot of the environmental art for those games, the Matsuno games, right?
Yeah.
This is so clearly, so like also Bravely Default is the character design for Bravely Default. This game isn't like I don't think Yoshida's doing the art, but it is so clearly like inspired by that I think what's happened is it has a lot more of these like muted colors and stuff, and it makes it for a less colorful game. But
I love the character portraits too, by the way, the ones that they've shown that I've seen.
They're good. They're good.
So 2 questions. One,
this is another game I wish the portrait art was with the dialogue boxes though, and it's not, which sucks.
So 2 questions. One, why do you think how far finished do you think this is as far as them asking survey stuff? Because that worries me, as if like they're like, oh, people don't like it, we're just gonna like start over or change major elements and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they say 2022, which makes it seem like it's pretty far off, but this seems like a pretty developed chunk of the game in some respects. Like I said, either some of that progression doesn't exist or it's just not in this demo. Yeah. There's teases of it. You can walk around camp and talk to different people who look like they're going to be the people who are in charge of that part of your progression, right? There's even a barkeep that looks like you're going to be doing propositions from Final Fantasy Tactics style. But I'm not going to blame people. I feel like some Japanese developers recently have been using this method of like, look, we're going to put a demo out early. It's going to be a lengthy one. We want to hear what you have to say. And I think that's led to some really good results. Both Neo games. Yeah, Neo was a game when that first demo came out. It was like they really had something, but it was kind of fucked. And I feel like player feedback really made it into something like special.
You think so?
And they also had like 8 or 9 technical tests for their audience to try out. So
I think it's also worth pointing out. I know this is not a Japanese developer, but it did work very well for Assassin's Creed for a while too. A lot of changes that were made that ended up making Assassin's Creed Origins and those games that came after it possible were born from feedback they collected. And
you don't have any examples, right? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but like I'm curious because I watched a documentary about
for Assassin's Creed. I can tell you an example because they took the feedback as you played the game. You finished the mission, you rated that shit, and you know what people did when they played Assassin's Creed? Any like telling fucking mission where you just slowly walk behind a dude and listen. Everyone rated that shit a 1 star. You know why? Because it fucking sucked. And later Assassin's Creed games, that shit started to go away. Thank God.
They couldn't figure that out beforehand.
Well,
I mean, it's one thing.
It's a blend. It's a blend. You can't only listen to people. You have to have some sort of creative decision, but and it's not always going to lead to the best results. But there are some things here that are going to get across, and I guarantee you, a lot of other people are going to be complaining about the voice acting with this demo, and that's fucking good.
That poor voice actors we're going to get.
Well, because it makes me think of like, so I watched this documentary about Killer Instinct. Like they were talking about the Killer Instinct game and how the problems and how that game had changed from season to season. And like there was one season where everyone was complaining about one character being overpowered and he's this, and specifically the developers talking about it. And he's like, look, you have to find out what the problem is. Like treat the problem, not the symptom, right? Like, so people are complaining that this thing is overpowered because of this move. But when you really, really, really deep down look at it, it's not because of this move. It's because of this, and this.
You're
like
right.
How the character plays. And I don't know if I have the confidence to be like asking players like something simple like, oh, we don't like tailing missions. That's simple. That's easy to understand. And I agree. I can see how that's But
I mean, it doesn't always work in favor of it. It certainly doesn't. There's one example I'm trying to think of. What was it? And I can't believe I can't think of it because I complain about it all the time.
You have a great point, David. Think about it. You have a great point, but like the best developers will actually straight up say that it's not that like a good developer who listens to feedback isn't like they take in the feedback. They don't do what people are asking.
Right.
They do what they know is going to give the output that actually is what the players actually want.
Yes.
This is what the best people the best like developers who take feedback do, right? Even with, and again, with fighting games and balance, like it's a huge issue with online games, right?
I mean, I think what you're trying to point out is kind of the difference between. It's an important distinction to make, and you know, a good creative director would probably be able to parse to figure this out. But there's an important difference between taking feedback and turning it into and using it appropriately, and then developing by committee, like just taking people's comments at face value and just doing what they're saying. Like, that's not necessarily what we're talking about. It does happen from time to time. I'm trying to think. There was a game in the past couple of years that I can't remember what it was, but it pissed me off because people were bitching about something and then they changed it, and I was like, great. They just basically yanked something out because people were upset about it.
Okay, Mass Effect, right? People complained about the Mako, then all the other Mass Effect games didn't have a Mako, right? We talked about this, you know, plenty of times with plenty of different games.
But the solution with the Mako was the solution to the Mako part was easy, right? It's tell the player that there's another zoom, like there's another level of zoom that you can zoom in. Because nobody ever knew that, right?
That's true. That's true. But you know,
that's
the kind of thing where you take the feedback, then you have conversations about like what's really wrong here. Is it that we didn't tell people how to zoom, or is it because the Mako just kind of sucks, or the stuff you did in those sequences kind of sucks? Look, it takes a good developer to make a good game, but I would never fault feedback because I think feedback is always valuable. It just depends on how you use it.
That's important. All right, we need to move on because
does this game have a name?
We have. No,
it doesn't actually have a name. Why does it not have a name?
That's okay. It's a code name.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with Triangle Strategy?
It's a code name. But the thing is, the code name for Octopath Traveler, the code name for Octopath Traveler was Project Octopath. So there's a good chance that this game is still going to have a stupid name, especially because it's a Square Enix
Octopath Traveler or Project Octopath sounds interesting, right? Project. Okay, so there was a guy who wrote a book, and it was like, he wrote a book, and it was like, if you want to be a millionaire, don't go to college. And then like people questioned him, like, why would you name your book that? He's like, well, if I forget what he originally, like his friend suggested he named it, and he was like, if I had named it what my friend suggested it, I wouldn't have sold a single copy, even to my own family members. But like, Project Triangle
it was a cookbook too.
But I'm saying project. I will give anything a chance. I will play anything. But Project
literally
Triangle Strategy. What the fuck is that?
What is that? A bridge too far for you, David?
You know what? In the poll, tell them that. Tell them you hate the name. I'm sure they'll change it.
I'm sure they will. But it's just you're already leaking stuff out. You got to get people excited, dude.
You can kill this footage. I'm over this.
Why could they not come up with some sort of name? Like, they've got the story written to a certain point, right? It's not like they don't know what's going to happen.
They're bad at this.
All right, guys.
Bravely Default.
Guys, that's a dumb name too. We are going to. There's been a lot of important news this past week. I don't normally want to spend a ton of time on news.
But there's good stuff.
I don't want to
get up. I
don't want to spend a ton of time. I don't want to spend a ton of time tonight. So let's try and let's focus, guys. But there's some important stuff. Why don't we start real quick? Bioware went and did it. They canceled Anthem.
Okay, so why are y'all laughing?
I mean, it's not. Sorry, laughing is not the reaction I probably should have.
Well, are y'all upset that they canceled it, or like would y'all have given it a shot?
I would imagine there's a good number of people that are upset.
I know.
No, you don't.
Because a lot of people were actually quite satisfied with Anthem. They had
the problem. You know what the problem with Anthem is,
right? They had the problems with the loot system and the drops there, and some balance issues. But the vast majority of what I have read from people who played it was that when you were in the suit, when you were in combat, you were having a lot of fun.
Okay, you're right, maybe. But the thing is, Anthem doesn't exist in a vacuum. And the big controversy around Anthem is not just that it came out and it was bad. It's that it was made by Bioware, who made these games that people love so much that are so different than what Anthem was, right? So it was they made it games as a service. It was bad. And everyone was like, please just move on from Anthem. Please go back to the games that you made before that we all loved. And maybe some people liked Anthem, but I don't think anybody loved Anthem the same way they loved KOTOR or Mass Effect or Dragon Age. It was just a different kind of thing. And personally, I'm happy it's dead. I don't play those kind of games, but I sure as shit, you know, like, so one of the other news items is not just that this is dead. It's that EA gave BioWare permission to not make Dragon Age a games as a service anymore. It was originally going to be a game kind of like Anthem, and EA is like, you know what? Just make your fucking single player RPG. Anthem was a fucking mistake. We don't want to make that mistake again. Avengers failed. Things are shifting, and I think what's happening is there was a time after World of Warcraft came out that everybody was making an MMO, right? And a lot of those were failing, right? And it eventually kind of fell out of popularity, and it stopped happening. And you know what? I think we were all better for it.
It sucks that they have, but they have to.
This
learn
is what's
the lesson
happening with the
hard way.
Destiny style game.
Right. So Crispy is in chat right now, and he makes a good point, because, and I tend to agree with him, because I do feel bad, because for a certain period of time there was a chunk of the community who was into Anthem, who was really optimistic about its future, and it was kind of like BioWare strung them along for a while, and when in reality this realization maybe should have happened a lot sooner for the benefit of everybody. I think it's just become.
You remember that Schreier tweet, right? It was just the executives who, like, this was going to be a thing. Executives were going to decide whether they were going to look at it and decide, are we going to let this happen, or are we going to kill it now? They looked at it. They decided to kill it. It was an executive decision. They didn't think the game was up to snuff. It may have been great. But it's not like BioWare was lying. They were working on stuff to make Anthem better.
Yeah, they were
working. Just wasn't worth it.
You're right, though. Things are starting to shift, and I think it just, because after the success of Destiny and things like The Division, I think there is this consensus, not consensus. There was just like this tendency for executives and companies to look at this formula and be like, this is an automatic moneymaker. And I think we are now realizing that it's not. It kind of like, you have to be able to deliver. Yet you have to be able to deliver on the promise of what the full potential of games as a service to really actually to get the full benefit of it.
Sure.
If you're not going to go
all in on it, you have to put in a roadmap of content that you actually deliver on in a timely manner, and you have to keep balancing and updating your game to take advantage of that new content. And that's something I don't think everybody was ever ready for.
Anthem 2.0 wasn't killed because Anthem 2.0, at least it wasn't just killed because Anthem 2.0 wasn't looking very good to some people. It was killed because Avengers sucked. It was killed because Fallout 76 sucked. But
here's the thing.
I think what people were realizing is that no one wants that shit anymore if it's not going to be fucking great. And you know what? Doing what No Man's Sky did is not fucking easy. In fact, I think there's a lot of weird, obsessed people with like proving people wrong that are like making the decisions on No Man's Sky, right? No Man's Sky was cool. We were cool with No Man's Sky years ago, but they're fucking obsessed with it, right? And they have all the money in the world because that shit blew up more than it should have ever blown up, right? So they're proving some point and they're going to die doing it, right? Anthem was never going to be in that situation. That it was always going to be way too expensive. It was way too much of a gamble to try to bring back Anthem. And you know what? This is probably the smarter decision.
Let's also, we're putting a lot of weight on the success or lack thereof of the Avengers. Let's not forget about Fallout 76. That's a games as a service too, isn't it?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Avengers was bad.
Avengers was a bomb. That's what
Avengers.
Matters.
Avengers. I heard Avengers is good, but it is not. It doesn't have what it needs to like reach the level of success of Destiny.
I don't understand what Avengers was supposed to be. It was.
I don't think a lot of people understood what Avengers was supposed to be. People were asking what the Avengers were like a week before it launched. Like people were like, why don't
it was buggy and all you did was fight robots and stuff. I mean
it was meant to be Destiny, but you play as like 5 or 6 different characters.
I went to 2
they also
they didn't actively show it. Like they weren't letting people. They were only letting a very small subset of people in to see it, and like people that were at that event like for 2 years in a row were like, I still don't know what the Avengers is. So I don't know.
EA also cited the success of Jedi Fallen Order for why they're letting BioWare go back to do exclusively single player only shit. Which is interesting.
Anthem dying, I think, is still kind of a sad thing. I feel like that team that was working on that content should just be allowed to go ahead and release whatever updates they were working on and just let it.
But that's not always real. That's not a realistic necessary. Like, if
I'm
just
not
releasing
talking
something
about
that's
like
incomplete.
actual content. I'm talking about like quality of life stuff, balance updates, things like that. Things that are much smaller than just building levels and missions and stuff.
Sure, but like if something wasn't ready, like if something wasn't approved for greenlit to release, and they were suddenly just like very suddenly like, all right, this thing is canceled. Everybody's shifting over to Dragon Age. Like that at that point, you no longer work on that stuff. It's over.
That's tough, dude. I don't know how people do that. It's like being a pro sports person, like a basketball player, and then like you're on one team and you're all your buddies are on that team, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go like win, yeah, and then like you've been traded to this other team, and you're like,
it's not even like that. It's like
dude,
telling that basketball player they have to go play football now. Like, oh, but I love basketball. I guess I could be okay at football. You know.
All right, we need to move on. Other news, I think worth mentioning this week, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but
come on, bring it, Nick.
It was kind of quietly announced that E3 2021 is going to be digital. Like they're not a lot to say there, but
there's not a lot to say.
It doesn't.
Are you going, Nick?
To the digital E3? You bet your sweet ass I am.
He's here. He's at E3
no point.
right now.
Are you telling me you guys miss going to E3?
I do.
You remember there's an E3 that we went to. It was Brad and me and Nick, and we were sitting in the Microsoft thing, and it was like I think maybe it was the first E3 that we all went together with. Like y'all missed that. Y'all miss sitting in. Y'all sitting in the theater, waking up ass early, driving to the thing, parking, shuffling in with all the other zombies, and then they go.
I miss aspects of it. Some aspects.
And then you're sitting there in a dark theater, and then it slowly like fades in. It's like FIFA, Madden, and you're like, oh god, just fucking show me something good.
But see, part of the torture was part of the experience.
Yeah.
I mean,
talking shit
David,
about EA's press conference was part of E3.
Yeah, David, have you never gone to like a football game or a basketball game or something like that? You know.
And what?
What is this conversation?
It's the experience of being there.
This is not the conversation I wanted to have.
It's we've had that experience.
Like,
it's
sure,
like,
we could stay home and we could watch it on ESPN, but to be
and
there...
be in a comfortable situation, like you can sit, you get the instant replays.
I don't care, David.
Pause live video, make some popcorn.
David, I like traveling. What do you want me to tell you? I like traveling.
That's nothing about traveling. You can travel anywhere you want.
But honestly, I don't miss going to the press conferences, but I miss playing games and being on the show floor. But whatever. That's not the point of this conversation.
I like
Let's talk about that Nintendo Direct.
Coming out 2 years later. But whatever.
Can I
let's talk about that Nintendo Direct. I'm gonna let you lead. I don't even remember half the shit they announced because.
Dude, man, did you see that sweet Batgirl game, dude?
Okay, stop it.
I'm playing that game.
We're gonna
on my GameFly queue, dude. If you want to find out how that game plays,
bigger stuff.
Tune in.
Okay, Splatoon 3 got announced.
And once again, one of the weirdest trailers possible. Yeah,
people are excited about Splatoon 3 or no?
Splatoon
3 is
huge.
a pretty.
Splatoon. Not only is Splatoon huge, but like, I feel like I don't want to get into it, but I feel like Nintendo's first party output has been a little slow these past few years. But this is like the first major Nintendo franchise that has now like. Splatoon 2 came out on the Switch, and this is Splatoon 3 coming out a few years later. So, like this is there are Splatoon fans out there who are Splatoon's huge. There are people who are very happy about this.
The next biggest multiplayer title for Nintendo next to Smash.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Sure.
Yeah.
All I'll say is I hope, maybe the single player stuff, they do some wild new stuff with that because I don't really play a lot of the multiplayer.
That was my biggest disappointment when I was playing Splatoon 2. I think the last boss was the same boss as the first one. I thought they were going to do something else.
I mean, crazy. Splatoon 3, that was kind of the big announcement they ended it with. I was hoping for something else, maybe something Metroid related, but whatever.
Nintendo.
How do y'all feel about Nintendo celebrating its 35th anniversary with
Woo!
Skyward Sword
my prayers have been
HD.
answered, dude.
Some people were hoping for like a
answered
collection of sorts.
I mean, I'll tell you what, it's hard
coming out. It's pretty much
it's hard.
The
it's
rumors
hard
are that the other ones are coming out to Switch.
It is hard to not be disappointed after the Super Mario 35th anniversary collection that came out this past year. That was no, it's disappointing to see them not do the exact same fucking thing with Zelda.
How are they going to put 3 Zelda games on 1 cartridge?
I don't give a shit. I don't care if they. I don't care if they release them all separately.
Okay, fine.
Mario 64.
Fine. Zelda 1, Zelda 2,
no.
and Link to the Past all on 1 cartridge.
No.
Do you have any idea how big SD cards are these days? You can get you can easily for like $100 you can buy a 1 terabyte SD card.
But it's not about the size. It's not about the capacity. It's about the gameplay out.
Okay, stop it. Aside from the point, what the news is Skyward Sword.
Sell you a cartridge, 1 cartridge, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker,
Twilight Princess.
$180. You get all 3 games on 1 disc.
I would pay for that before I bought Skyward Sword, given the choice.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm not given a choice, so I'm gonna buy Skyward Sword.
Wait, you're gonna buy this?
Probably.
Which of you guys actually like Skyward Sword, or like hate it?
I played it for 55 hours, so that should tell you something. Yeah, I beat it.
I bought it. I never played it.
And I beat it. My worry is Brad has told me on multiple occasions there's a lot of busy work.
There is.
Oh my god, so much fluff.
And I don't know if I have the patience to do that.
Dude, you just got to do it. You're a weird guy though, right, David?
Guys,
no one's going to deny that you're not weird.
Let's be real for a second.
You like stuff that other
be
people
real
don't?
for a second.
Here's my experience when that game came out. I bought it, I put it in, I ran around, I was sitting there scanning for Deku scrubs in the first area, and I think I made it to the first dungeon, and then that was it. I never touched that game again.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like it.
Can we
Go ahead, Nick. What is Nick trying to say?
I don't know. Y'all are killing me. Fucking killing me. I had a thought and I fucking lost it.
What do you think about that new Mario Golf?
I just want to point out that like y'all are acting like Skyward Sword is like garbage, when in fact it is a Zelda game that is still probably better than like a lot of shit out there in the same genre.
Can we really quick?
It may be the worst 3D Zelda. It may be the worst 3D Zelda on a console.
Oh,
yeah. It's still a fine 3D Zelda game.
There are good dungeons. There are good bosses. There are things to like about Skyward Sword.
It's got charm. It's got moment.
But Nick, I'm sure you're forgetting some bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit. It's easy to remember.
It's the Super Mario Sunshine of Zelda games, says Sony. And you know what? I played Mario Sunshine this year.
I love Super Mario Sunshine.
But can we talk about the best part of this new port? The fact that they're updating the control scheme where you can actually use a fucking controller and don't have to do fucking motion for everything.
The best part is I don't have to play it on the shitty Wii graphics because that shit.
Yeah, that's the best part. That's true.
That shit.
But you know what?
Off.
I don't even think the motion control was why I think Skyward Sword is not great.
Yeah, that's what
it has nothing to do with that. I think the motion control was some of the cooler things that game did. But let's move on. What do y'all think about?
You know what's a worse game than Skyward Sword? Spirit Tracks.
Okay,
fuck that goddamn game.
Okay,
sure,
you're about to start a fight with some people.
Remember Spirit Tracks had the stupid flute that you had to blow into?
The reason that Skyward Sword is salt in the wounds is because they came out and said, look, I know you're excited about Breath of the Wild 2. Tough titties. You're going to have to wait a little bit. You're going to play Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is the reason that Breath of the Wild is as good as it is.
Oh, sure.
Skyward
because
Sword's
they learned
problems.
from Skyward Sword.
They learn from Skyward Sword. So to tell people that wait for Breath of the Wild by playing Skyward Sword again is kind of crazy.
I know, but it's the same thing as the Wii U. I love the Wii U, but the Wii U paved the way for the Switch. It's the exact same thing.
Okay, we got to move on.
We got to move on.
Mario Golf Super Rush looks kind of cool because you can actually like run around on the golf course and like knock people over and shit. That's kind of cool. Like speed golf.
I just want y'all to know we're not doing questions tonight.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. We got to talk about that stuff. I want to rant very briefly about Animal Crossing. I think Animal Crossing New Horizons fucking sucks, and the reason is there's not all kinds of cool Nintendo items that are in all of the other Animal Crossing games. But now there's free DLC that's gonna add Mario items into Animal Crossing.
So your problem with this is what?
No, I don't have a problem about this announcement. My problem is just that what they did to New Horizons originally, which is take out all the Nintendo items. It's like when they took out all the Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. It just doesn't. It's not right. It's not feel right. Nintendo items are part of Animal Crossing, but at least now they're finally adding some back in. You know,
yeah.
It's not a fucking Triforce and a.
They don't have a Triforce in that game.
No, I'm saying this one's only Mario items, and Animal Crossing traditionally has a ton of cool Nintendo items from a bunch of cool Nintendo franchises. But
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think I've seen some people's weird houses online, and it's pretty incredible what you're able to do in that game.
I know. Look, that's fine. Look, we should move on. I talked a lot about triangle strategy. Look, Stubbs the Zombie, Monster Hunter Rise looks great. We don't need to get into details. We have to move on. There is a Sony thing too we got to talk about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I will say the last big thing that maybe people want to hear our opinions on is the Pyra Mithra as the new character in Smash from Xenoblade.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just glad they didn't pick Rex because fuck that. I think if they could have picked any character from Xenoblade 2, I'm glad they picked this one or these two because fuck some of those characters.
We're just so spoiled, dude. They're not happy.
Okay. So that's the Nintendo Direct. No Advance Wars. No Metroid.
There will never be an Advance Wars, dude.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Okay, you will die, Brad. There will be a day you will die.
It's terrorists. Terrorists are the reason we don't have Advance Wars anymore.
Terrorists?
Literal terrorists. Literal terrorists. Advance Wars came out the day after 9/11. The day after 9/11. And because of 9/11, Japan, they said, nuh-uh. We're not releasing that game. We're not releasing that game. And you know what? Because you're
chaos theory bullshit.
No, it's
Butterfly
not. No, this is actual
earthquake somewhere.
This is actual documented. This is actual documented shit. And Advance Wars 1 didn't come out. Advance Wars 2 didn't come out in Japan. And it wasn't until much, much later that they released both of those in a collection. And because of that, Advance Wars never caught on in Japan. And if Japan doesn't care about a Nintendo franchise, then no one does. Look at Metroid. Oh, fuck. All right, moving on.
He just had a moment. He just had a moment.
How much of Other M did you play?
Oh my God, we are not talking about this.
I finished it. Come on, it's a Metroid game.
We have to move on.
We have to move on. Sony.
I'm moving on. I moved on.
What happened at Sony today? I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was disappointed in both these things.
Yuffie, only Yuffie.
Yeah, that's
not true at all.
How much is Yuffie gonna cost?
Do
I have to buy Yuffie?
It's free.
It is free, but there is a big catch. No. It is a free update coming for only the PS5 version. PS4 does not get it.
So you have to do one of two things.
The whole episode?
You have to do one of two things. You have to either buy the PS5 version, straight up, buy the whole game, PS5, or buy the PS4 version, get the free upgrade, and then buy the DLC for Yuffie.
Oh, buy a deal. Okay, so you have to buy the DLC if you have the PS4 version. But
correct. If you buy the PS5, if you buy the new PS5 version, she's included.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem that I have. Okay, Nick?
Oh, but I thought the upgrade is free.
The upgrade is here. Listen to what I'm saying. Free,
but guys, you become.
Everybody, shut the fuck up for a second. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. If you have the PS4 version, you get a free upgrade to the PS5 version, and then you have to buy Yuffie. If you just buy the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Yuffie is included.
Okay, so it's paid.
So you either pay $70 for the remake on PS5, or you get the free upgrade and you pay whatever the fuck they're charging for the DLC on PS4.
You don't know how much Yuffie's. Y'all said Yuffie was free. Y'all, you heard it. This guy with the pink background and the other dude next to him both said Yuffie was free multiple times.
Well, that was my understanding.
She got me kind of excited.
She's included in the PS5 version.
Okay, in which case this is fucked up, right? Because look,
major problem before that,
which is
not only are they introducing Yuffie in DLC, not only are they introducing Yuffie in DLC, they're not introducing her in the way she was introduced in Final Fantasy VII, which is maybe fine, right?
Yeah,
it's an all new story, an all new Yuffie, right? She looks great. But they also announced 2 mobile Final Fantasy VII games. Dude, they're going full Kingdom Hearts with this shit. They're going full All we wanted was a sequel. All we wanted was a sequel where maybe it gets weird, but they leave Midgar, they go to Calm, they talk about Sephiroth, whatever, they fight a big snake. That's what we wanted. And what do we get? We get DLC, new shit from Yuffie, characters coming from Dirge of Cerberus, a mobile game that's a battle royale, which, by the way, you probably need to download and play if you really want to know the full story. Well, I'm telling you, this is fucking Kingdom Hearts. They're ruining it. All they had to do was make the next one. They're spending so much time and money doing anything but making the next one.
Well, they are making the next one.
They are making the next one. It is being done.
You're right. You know what? And they eventually made Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, but there was so much bullshit along the way. They're fucking us. They're fucking it up. I don't trust Square Enix. I hate them. I hate them.
By the way, Project Triangle Strategy.
But also look at Final Fantasy 15, which, by the way, is a Final Fantasy 13 spinoff renamed. Right. Had all this DLC and episodes and all this bullshit multiplayer modes. And you know what? They couldn't finish it. They canceled a bunch of it. The creator of Final Fantasy 13 is like, fuck this, and left to go do something else. You know, that's proof that they need to stop fucking doing this. And they're doing it with Final Fantasy 7 again.
They're easily like 5 or 8 years away from this, because we're just now. Remember y'all were saying earlier, like, all the World of Warcraft games ended, and now like all the games as a service games are finally catching on that that's not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
Dig in for the long haul, my friend, because
literally called Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale, which is so absurd. You see this?
Yeah. Real quick though,
they had to keep it. All they had to do was keep it simple. That's all they had to do.
I do want to mention, so before the state of play today, there was a leak that seems to be, it was almost everything was confirmed about it. It got the mobile games, it got the Yuffie content, but what it says specifically about the remake content was that it was going to have a chapter 8.5 that was just for Yuffie, but then there was also going to be a chapter 20. So basically epilogue content on top of the existing ending. So
I don't want that. I just want the fucking sequel. Just give me the fucking sequel. Just make the next chunk of Final Fantasy VII.
Give them time.
Dave,
I have a question. Did y'all see the side-by-sides they posted of like,
yes,
PS5 is going to look like this and so much
it was terrible.
Yeah. Whenever you're watching a YouTube video, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't really tell the difference.
It was stills that I saw. They were highlighting the 60 frames per second and the improved textures. Like, it's not a huge difference, but in motion you can see it.
Lighting, and it just looked like somebody like turned the light on like brighter in the game, and it just looked all washed
ray
up.
tracing.
It's ray tracing.
That's all that is.
They were like fog effects, and I was like, dude, you can't even see like past anything, dude.
Very briefly, I just want to say the rest of the state of play was just sort of like, for the most part, stuff that we had already been announced. They showed more of it. A lot of that stuff looks good.
We have a release date
to look good.
Kina, what is it? Kina,
whatever. That looks good. I think Returnal looks good. I think
Returnal's on my radar for the first time after
it looks a lot like an even more sci-fi version of Control.
That new game Sifu looks pretty cool, but whatever. We should move
on. You know what? I'm not even gonna do the last news topic I had planned. It's Konami shit. Do you want to talk about Konami as well?
I mean, it's might as well mention it real quick.
I mean, there's a lot of
it's all rumors and speculation, anyways, so we don't have to talk about it.
Maybe we should wait till something's more official.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of rumors swirling right now about Konami rebooting their major franchises, i.e., Silent Hill, Castlevania, and Metal Gear Solid, by outsourcing to external developers. And there's already been a ton of talk about Silent Hill getting 2 separate reboots from one being a Western developer.
Multiple projects,
so,
yeah.
There's a lot of people thinking Bloober has their hands on a Silent Hill project. I don't know if that's true, but let's just let's hold off until there's something more official to actually discuss. So now, like I said, sorry again, we didn't have a show last week because of the weather, so we're playing a lot of catch up this week. So no time for questions. But for those of you who want to get questions in for next week, please continue to do so. We'll get to you. We'll spend more time next week than usual with questions. But for now, unless y'all have any objections, let's wrap up with the 4-player minute.
All right, I'll start. I got some fuck yous and some other shit. Look, fuck you to Tekken, to Namco, or the Tekken team, because they released a teaser trailer that was very short, and it started with clips of Poland. Out of a car walks a young lady with silver hair and a scar underneath her left eye, and it's not Siri though. Think about what I'm saying.
Oh God!
A Polish lady with silver hair and a scar under her left eye. That's what Siri is, but it's not Siri. The scar's different. God
damn. What are you
damn.
talking about, Siri? What am I missing?
Never mind. My other fuck you is I watched the Monster Hunter movie.
Oh, you did? Yeah, let's get into it, dude. Give me a full detailed report.
It's bad. Don't watch it. It's bad.
I saw an article online that said the ending of the Monster Hunter movie explained. Is there anything to explain?
It was Gormagawa. Look, it's stupid. Tony Jaa does a insect glaive vault at the very end of the movie, which is
Jaa's in the movie.
Yeah, he's like one of the main characters.
Buck, Thai warrior.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude,
he uses a tiny greatsword.
Wait, isn't that kind of like one of those? What is it when it's an opposite? When it's like opposite, 2 words opposite put together. Tiny greatsword. It's like
an oxymoron.
That's the joke, right? The joke is that Monster Hunter weapons are enormous, but they couldn't make one as big as it is in the game, so it's like a tiny greatsword, and it just looks wrong. So yeah. Anyways, also fuck you to Sony because they're shutting down original game production at Japan studio, which they're responsible for some really cool shit all the way back to like Ape Escape, right? And Puppeteer,
they're
which I really
shutting
love.
it down. That's the thing.
They're shutting down like original projects, right? Like so Japan studio does support for a lot of other games like Bloodborne. They've always done that, right? But it looks like they basically said that all their original projects sell like shit, so they're not going to do that anymore, and that's really unfortunate.
Well, what they're saying they're doing is that they're going to keep Team Asobi, which is the team behind Astro's Playroom, and they're going to be taking care of everything on that studio from now on.
Yeah, that's a separate team. Part of Japan Studio was Project Siren, which was the name of the team that made Siren and Gravity Rush, and hopefully, there's rumors that they might be working on some Silent Hill related shit. Maybe not anymore. I don't fucking know. Anyways, my hype is for Diablo 4. Rogue is back from the first game. I think it looks cool. I think Diablo 4 looks good, and but my sweat is for the remake of Diablo 2, which also looks good. It's a sweat because I don't want to get back into Diablo 2, but it looks good.
It's happening.
Brett, I don't think you have it in you. Even if you wanted to do it, I don't think it's like, like when the guys get older and then they need the pills to get, to get going.
You think I need Viagra
anymore, Brad,
to get it up for Diablo?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't even work anymore.
Dude, are you saying I can't do Mephisto runs anymore?
Do it. Whip it out. Prove me wrong.
I feel
I'll buy you the game, dude. I'll buy you like 3 copies of the game. Shit.
I need an adult.
Anyways, and my final sweat
just went back in again
too, because Dying Light 2, apparently the development of that game continues to be on fire, and not as bad as Bloodlines 2, where they fired the developer of the game. the publisher said, you know what, developer of this video game, you're not developing it anymore. So I don't know. Dying Light 2 is probably not in that bad of a shape, but honestly, I never had high hopes for Bloodlines 2, so I'll let someone else be sad about that one. That's all.
All right, thank you. Chris Davis?
Okay, I have 2 hypes and 2 fuck yous this week. My first hype is obviously for Yuffie. That content looks really good. They looked
They
at
showed
the
stuff?
Don't you mean Yuffie?
Yeah.
I
Yuffie.
mean,
Yeah, they showed stuff. You should watch it.
She says her name is Yuffie, so I'm saying Yuffie. Whatever. But dude, that
it's actually Yuhi.
Dude, her combat looks so good. Like most of the characters' combat in the remake, it's all right. It's all right. Her moveset looks fucking awesome. I cannot wait to see what she's like.
I feel like I need to go watch the trailer again because I don't remember.
You should go watch that again. She looks like she's gonna be a lot of fun.
She looks like she's how old?
She's 16 in Final Fantasy 7.
I mean,
I remember that because I read the instruction book. 9,000.
She looks so good.
So my second hype
she
is
looks her outfit is very accurate to the original.
Yeah,
I like
with the mom thing on the top of her head.
Yeah,
she had that in the original.
That's a Nomura-esque flourish.
The Nomura with the chains. Is she gonna bust out the chains and the double blades?
Probably.
She's got her whatever. My second hype is for Deathloop. They released a new trailer today, and they did it in like a Bond film intro style, with like its own cool. like musical number, and it really kind of got me hyped for it. They showed a lot more kind of the style of running and killing guys, and it looks like just like Dishonored set in the 60s.
I continue to be excited for that, but also like not sure what it is.
It's Prey Moon Crash by way of Dishonored set in the 60s.
And that sounds fucking great. That sounds great.
That's what it is.
I'm sure it'll be amazing.
I'm sharing a fuck you with Brad
for the crossing.
For Japan Studio. Them closing that. Like, just because they weren't profitable doesn't mean you can't give them, other work.
I've always had this definition of bring back Ape Escape.
Like I understand that Sony is shifting a lot of their development focus over to Western countries, but like still, don't close down your oldest developer like that. That feels shitty.
Welcome to the video game industry.
They made Jumping Flash.
Yeah, they have a storied history.
Well, they help make.
I don't think that's the reason why you keep them open, right?
My other fuck you is to one of the 2 mobile Final Fantasy VII games coming. So yeah, the Battle Royale mobile game, it looks like garbage, just garbage. But then there was the other one,
trash.
The other one was called Ever Crisis, and the idea is. It looks fucking gorgeous. It is the biggest catfish teaser trailer I've ever seen. Because you watch this trailer and it looks like a shot-for-shot kind of remake of 7. But from that traditional isometric style with all the textures looking fucking great. All the character models looking like chibi, like fucking great stuff.
It's not that.
It looks so good. And then they show the combat, and it looks like some kind of tapper bullshit. It looks, oh my god, it looks so bad. Oh, I was so upset because I was imagining like these guys are making another fucking remake of Final Fantasy VII in that classic isometric style. It's gonna look gorgeous. Oh god, what is this? How fucking dare you?
Don't get your hopes up like that.
They remade Pokemon, but you just threw the Pokeball at the Pokemon. So.
Oh my god. So go and watch that Ever Crisis trailer, and just you will be in love with that until you see the combat.
Can't wait.
I gotta look at this stuff individually.
I'm gonna watch it now.
All right, well, don't do it now. Was that the end of your 4-player minute?
Yes.
All right, David, it's your turn.
Okay. My shame for this week. No More Heroes 3. I'm kind of over the whole Suda 51. There was a time in my life when I was like a super huge Suda 51, and everything he would put out, I'd be super excited about. No More Heroes, maybe No More Heroes 2, but Killer 7. And then, like, I think it happened right around Shadows of the Damned when I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe it's not Suda 51, because No More Hero, listen, Shadows of the Damned was great. It was great writing, but that was somebody else doing it. And
yeah,
when I look at No More Heroes 3, I'm just like, it's the style, and I'm just kind of over the style of it. And just, I want there to be good, interesting gameplay that's not just like a one and done, like Lollipop Chainsaw, let's make this really cool thing, and you're doing stupid mini games for 8 hours.
I enjoyed the fact that the Direct actually had gameplay footage that wasn't Suda standing in front of a camera blocking everything.
That's true. Let It Die was awesome.
Okay, yeah, maybe I need to try that.
I'm fucking with you, and I'm not really feeling No More Heroes anymore.
No, I mean, I played that kind of spin-off one, Travis Returns or whatever. It was okay, but I mean, it's more stylish stuff, dude, and the style can only get you so far before you need some like decent puzzles to make
you need a Shinji Mikami to make your game good.
Yes. My sweat for this week is honestly Skyward Sword, because I want that game to be okay. So I'm not expecting the moon. I'm not expecting the greatest stuff for that, but I do want to be able to play it and finish it, and experience the whole the whole experience. I did that with Twilight Princess last year, and although you can see a lot of like the faults in that game, or the age, or the bad, not want to say bad design, but just the design of that time. It's acceptable. You could play it. It was an enjoyable experience. There's some good start parts, and I'm really hoping that's the case with Skyward Sword. Also, with the Ninja Gaiden like Master Collection thing that they're releasing on doing the Sigma stuff, because I remember playing 2. I don't know if you remember, Brad, but 2 came out. We were both playing it at the same time, and I really enjoyed the first couple levels, and then I don't think I ever picked that game up ever again.
Yeah, you're right. Ninja Gaiden 1, certified classic. Ninja Gaiden 2, it's one of those games I will forever not understand what people see in that game. It's fucked.
Yeah, and there's also that one lead up that's like really doesn't play well, right? Or like there's like climb to a tower and all these guys are running at you, and I think I remember you telling me
there's a lot of really fucked stuff.
Did you get to the exploding armadillos?
No,
Okay.
I was really early.
Then you don't know true pain in life.
No, that's what I'm saying. I hate the design of Ninja Gaiden. Like, it was okay in 1, but
you know what's good though? Neo. So I'm back in the good graces.
But Ninja Gaiden has like Ayane and Momiji and Rachel.
But
I am so happy that I never let myself get into Ninja Gaiden. Why? I'm happy. I'm just happy with Neo.
The first one's okay.
Ninja Gaiden Black is an excellent video game.
I'm looking forward to playing Ninja Gaiden. I've been thinking about how to go back and play Ninja Gaiden 1 again, and now I have a way to do it. And my hype for this week, $100 if any of you can guess it.
It's probably some idol related thing, so that would never happen.
I mean, Nick, I didn't want to say it, but
Conception?
No, not Conception.
Oh, well, I was about to be like, I just want $100.
My hype for this week, Famicom Detective Club.
Oh yeah,
that looks pretty cool. And I was looking at I was looking up the back information about how that stuff. It's a Gunpei Yokoi game. Like, that's where the origins come from. Creator of the Game Boy, Virtual Boy.
It really seems out there.
It looks pretty, and like it sucks because I want to pick up both, but the second one is a prequel to the first one. So there's one you have to pick up at first, and then the other one prequel. Yeah, I mean, I always want to try stuff like that out. I don't know if you guys ever tried a game called Framed, but Brad, if you haven't played that, dude, that's a pretty awesome game, dude.
It's pretty wild.
It's like a comic book, and then you just arrange the panels, and depending on how you arrange it, the story plays out differently, and you can escape the cops or not. So, Nick, did you want to hear the premise of Conception?
No, I'm ready. I am ready to deliver
after he hits stop on this recording.
Yeah, but I want them to hear it too.
I am ready to deliver my 4-player minute, starting right now. My fuck you for this week goes to the shooting, the combat in Uncharted. I am in the middle of I'm replaying the series, and I'm
you
in
play
the
on
third
PS3?
one.
Tell me you're not playing on PS3.
Well, I'm playing the PS4 version on PS5, so no, I'm definitely not playing that.
You're playing
PS3.
the collection, right?
The collection, yes.
I thought the collection, they fixed that stuff. I went through Uncharted 1 and they fixed some of it.
Dude, Uncharted 1 is the worst. Okay,
I know, and it was kind of playable
Uncharted 3 is by far, strangely enough, I'm realizing that I remember almost nothing about Uncharted 3 outside of the big airplane set piece that was all over E3 and everything that year. That game is pretty damn good. I just wish Uncharted was like 20% combat and like 80% tomb raiding. Instead, it is like at best like a 50-50 split. And man, even when as they starting to tighten up the combat in Uncharted, it's still annoying and too much. There's just too much
many guys. There's way too many guys.
Of it.
Did you play the spin-off one with Zoe or Chloe?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a series, and I'm realizing this now that I'm replaying the original trilogy. I think I'm going to go back and play Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4 again as well. But that is a series I think has consistently gotten better with every single entry, including combat. 3, I'm enjoying. Dude, I just played 2. 2 has some atrocious combat in it.
Yes,
it has some great set pieces.
I love the combat.
Yes.
Has some great set pieces. I hate the combat in Uncharted 2. Uncharted 3, I'm enjoying way more than Uncharted 2, and I'm playing them back to back. Yes.
You're crazy.
From the story perspective, from the set piece, from the character work, from the feel of the combat, country mile difference. But still, I don't like it. I wish there was far less of it. I wish
hate
there was
Uncharted.
No, I love Uncharted. I mean, I love Uncharted for the story, for the characters, for the exploration, the sense of adventure. I don't like anytime I have to pull out a gun and shoot people. I just don't like it.
Exploration is probably not the word to use, but I understand.
No. I didn't. Did I? No, I meant the sense of adventure, fucking Indiana Jones shit. I love it.
Well, which is the best Indiana Jones movie?
Dude,
this will tell me whether you know what you're talking about or not.
I don't. If every Uncharted game was like if every once in a while you just got into a fist fight with some dude and occasionally pulled out a gun and shot somebody, and that was the end of that was just that was kind of a big deal, and the rest of it was just exploring tombs and solving puzzles and having this witty banter with people. Oh my god, Uncharted would be one of my favorite games of all time.
Well, I have the same complaints with you. What you're exactly saying, but just replace Uncharted with The Last of Us. And
fuck you, David. I'm sorry.
It's the exact same thing. Just too much combat, dude. There's
oh my god, dude, the combat
coming out of the walls in that game.
The combat in Last of Us actually makes sense, and it also feels absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but how many homeless dudes are in this camp?
I haven't even finished my first part of my 4-player.
Keep going, Nick. Keep going.
My sweat right now goes to Brad mentioned Dying Light situation. It's very unfortunate. Techland is apparently just ripe with fucking toxic culture, and sexual. I don't know about sexual abuse, but just all kinds of just really shady shit apparently happening there, and yeah, it's really unfortunate. Terrible management happening, and just people they're shedding talent, they're just bleeding talent because people just don't want to stay at the company. And it's kind of worrying when you couple that with the fact that we haven't seen the game in 2 years. The last time I saw Dying Light 2 was at E3, and I haven't been to E3 in almost 2 years. So that's unfortunate. I really, really want that game to eventually come out, and I want it to be good. But man,
what about Dead Island 2? That game ever come out?
No, that game never came out. But apparently they're saying that still is a thing. My hype is actually not game related. I'm gonna go with TV related.
Oh, don't tell. Oh, okay, I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say the Mortal Kombat trailer.
No, not the Mortal Kombat trailer.
It looks better. Is the most watched Red Band trailer of all time now.
It looks better. It looks way better than the.
You can't. That trailer is trying to be too serious.
You are hijacking my 4-player minute.
You can't. And he goes, "My name is Sub-Zero," and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Nick, just start talking. Go.
No. I'm gonna go with. I'm just excited for TV in general this year. I just started watching Superman and Lois last night, and that show is so good.
That's a new one, right?
Yeah, I think
doesn't he look a little bit too beardy, like 5 o'clock
dude.
shadow?
I'm gonna be honest. I was a little unsure about the person they chose to portray Superman, but he's very good. He is very good, and
he has
I honestly,
nice pecs.
I honestly, yeah, he's got great pecs. I honestly feel like, I mean, it's ridiculous. That show looks like it has no business being on the CW. It has the production value of like a big budget film. It looks like Man of Steel, but without Zack Snyder's bullshit all over it. It's great. It's great.
Are you excited about the Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, of course I'm excited about the Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
Nick, finish your 4-player.
You know, Alfred Molina's in that.
And of course, I got super. They showed the first shot of Michael C. Hall as Dexter in season 9 came out today, and I've just been on cloud 9. I'm very excited. It's still happening, guys. I can't believe it's still happening. I'm so happy.
Was he shirtless?
No. And I'm gonna do another hype for PSVR 2 is apparently a thing. So out of the blue, Sony came out and at least acknowledged its existence. So very little in the way of details, obviously, but I'm glad to see that Sony is not just saying, "Hey, by the way, VR is still a thing." Like, I've been worried they were just gonna completely abandon it.
But VR 2 is going to be for the PS5.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the official title of this VR, whatever they're going to call it, but they acknowledge that there is a new VR headset in development. It's coming, not this year, probably next year, which is exciting. It's really fucking exciting, especially considering next year is when I'm going to probably stop using my Oculus because I had to have a Facebook account.
We're also probably going to see a real dirge of PS4 VR titles.
Cerberus. Sorry.
Oh my god, a Final Fantasy did they announce a Final Fantasy 7 VR title?
No.
Oh, okay. But was that what you were foreshadowing?
He used the word dirge, so I said of Cerberus because I'm dumb. That's all.
My god, I'm calling it right now. Calling it. Show 671. David calls Final Fantasy 7 the VR game's coming out, dude. Holy shit. Y'all heard it here. Breaking the story, dude. Dude, you would tell me you wouldn't play a VR game where you're like walking around like in the ballroom with like Aerith. Pick Aerith or Tifa.
I would not, and here's why. Because they put out a Final Fantasy 15 VR game, and that was garbage.
Yeah, because nobody cares about the characters in 15.
Brad, fade us out. Fade us the fuck
Tifa.
out.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Don't tell me if
everyone
Tifa was
have
there
a good
like
night.
this, you were in VR, you wouldn't go like this.
David, you make it impossible to
I'm excited about games, dude. We're talking about good stuff. It's interesting.
No, we know.
Is it not
it's just the cocaine.
Oh, you would be in Don Corneo's Magic. Imagine if you were. Remember that scene with Don?
And now we fade out.